Yo, how you going? This Lady Chann, rep nonetheless, and welcome to the weekly wrap-up show with Cumbox with Shan. What's up, my people? Big up to Coach Malachi. He is absolutely busting me up. Luis Ortiz, awful, awful. So we're gonna chop it up about Canelo, the slap from around the world. Canelo, Caleb Plant, Luis Ortiz, the Duck. That's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to introduce the co-host. I'm introducing, introducing, introducing the fight fan figure. Don't get right there. I can't hear you. Oh, is it me? It might be me. Yet again. No, you're muted. You're muted, Lee. Yeah, you was on mute.
Bang, bang. In a minute. You been good?
What's up? I've been all right. We're about to chop it up. We've got another guest already. A family member, should we say. I'm introducing, introducing, introducing. AJ, aka Alex. What's that?
Caleb gonna get fucked up. Caleb gonna get fucked up. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, Leon? What's going on with Lady Chann?
What's going on? We got another guest that we have to introduce, another family member. I'm introducing, introducing, introducing the Queen, Lisa Bizzle. Bells.
Lisa.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey,
Good. You good?
Hey,
I feel
yeah,
like I
good.
haven't spoken to you for too long. Sorry.
That's okay. I've been a little bit busy myself.
Yeah, everyone's been on a hectic o'clock, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell me
Lady
about
Chann,
it.
how you feeling? You feeling better?
Yeah, more better than I was yesterday. Thanks for asking.
Good.
Good. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, but better than I was yesterday, so that's better, right? I guess. But yeah, all the better to see you guys. And my mic was sorted out. You know, I had to hit up Microsoft like support on the laptop. They give you 365 24/7 24 hours a day tech support. So I hit them up. They took over my screen and he downloaded some drivers for the mic specifically for this PC and got it all back and popping again. So you guys can hear me properly, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you good.
I tested
good.
it. I was on earlier on TBV, Big Up Nesta Gibbs. I was on there and it sounded all right. We got Mr. T in the building. Salute
Mr.
at work.
T was on phone.
Oh, phone going back in pocket. No worries. At least you passed by. Love it. We've got another guest. Yay! Another favorite person, aka Familia. I'm introducing. Introducing. So we are introducing Joseph Heron.
Joseph, what's good?
Good evening to you, Lady Chann, and good day to all of you guys here in the States. And I tell you what, your introduction never gets old. That is awesome. Thank you so much for the red carpet, sister.
Oh, no worries.
That's good. Good to hear from you again.
Good to hear from you guys as well. God bless all of you.
God bless you too, Joseph.
Yeah,
what's good with you, man?
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
good show last night.
Oh, thank you, sister. Yeah, it's always fun to talk with Coach Ronnie. He's filled with a ton of insight, and I love the debate you guys were having in the chat yesterday. But well, that was a fiery retort.
Lisa's still undefeated in these YouTube streams.
Indeed. And it's nice to hear you very loud and clear and prominent, Lady Chann. I love that you fixed your mic. You sound great.
Thank you. Yeah, they did. Microsoft did the damn thing. I'd hit up Microsoft tech support on the laptop and they offer you free tech support. They went into my laptop and did everything for me. Yeah,
That's great.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
You guys,
Sound like-
you sound crystal clear, sister.
Yay, back to normal, resume normal function. I'm glad. So what we're gonna chop up, people trickle in. What we're gonna salute to Philly Fly in the build.
What's good, Philly Fly?
What's
Philly
good, my
Fly?
G? Philly
What's
Fly,
good,
my
Philly?
guy from the UK. So what we're gonna chop up, what we're gonna start with, would you want to start with the slap from around the world, shall we?
Yeah.
That's viral, man.
That shit is super viral. It's
Yeah.
in the stratosphere. It's out of this world. It's in Mars now. Out of space.
But by the way, could I just pose a question? I left a comment on a video. How long do you guys think Caleb Plant's hospital stay is going to be? You know, I'm just wondering. You know,
Well,
yeah, I think it'll be about a month, maybe half a year. I don't know, just
Maybe
depending on how Canelo's feeling.
Yeah, take 6 months off. Yeah.
well, in my opinion, his ego was a lot more banged up than his face
Yeah.
as a result of yesterday's festivities.
So you tell me your take on it, Jay. To start with you. What
All
did you
right.
have
Well,
from that?
thank you so much, Lady Chann. In my opinion, guys, this is a result of, and two things, and I mentioned this on yesterday's show with Ronnie. Two things. One, you don't call Canelo an MF, right? One, but more importantly, and something that people are missing out on and overlooking, is when a fighter is stone cold serious about something, the last thing that you do to him is you start laughing in his face. When Caleb Plant was up there talking about, and he obviously has a chip on his shoulder for good reason. He's been overlooked and he's been the underdog in his ascension to world championship status. And so he was talking about, I've been the underdog. I've been overlooked my entire career, starting from the amateurs, and given this whole diatribe. And then he goes, and you're going to see on November 6th when you hear, and still undefeated, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. And then he's talking to Canelo, and he sees Canelo smiling and kind of laughing. He goes, "Oh, you think that's funny? You think that's funny?" And he goes, "Yeah, kind of."
Yeah.
Right there, that was he just threw the first dagger, and from that point forward, it was on.
Yeah.
Like Sweet Hands Plant really took exception to someone laughing in his face, and that's when the F-bombs came out. That's when he called him a female dog. That's what he said. That's when it started. And if you don't realize this, guys, when a fighter is serious, really trying to be tough, you don't laugh in his face. That's almost like basically calling him MF, right?
Yeah.
So that's what started everything, and it just escalated, and I just thought it was hilarious. And I'm so happy though that the response from most people within the boxing community isn't like, "Oh, this is bad. This is a black eye." No, they're embracing this. Like, hey guys, it's on. This is the official launch of Canelo versus Caleb Plant, and I love it. I think it's wonderful for the sport.
Me too. What did you think about the slap? Did Caleb Plant land a slap, or was it a graze? A skim?
Oh, I think you guys, and one thing I always say on my show, if you're asking the question, you already know the answer. It was a graze. He landed fingertips, and I think people are having, and once again, they're having the healthy and correct response that, holy cow, look at the reflexes on Canelo Alvarez. Not only did Caleb Plant get a taste of the strength of Canelo Alvarez when he shoved him almost off the stage,
nearly clean off the stage, nearly. Yeah,
he got a taste of those lightning quick reflexes. And once again, it takes me back to when we had a fighter one time that I was doing PR work for, and he was in camp with Canelo Alvarez, getting him prepared for Floyd Mayweather Jr. And after the fight, I spoke with Floyd Sr. and I said, "So after your boy retires, who's going to take over the sport? Who's going to be the biggest name of the sport? And he points to Canelo and he goes, that guy right there. And I said, really? Why do you think so? And he goes, because he's got that Floyd stuff. And what he meant by that was those reflexes. You can't teach that. That's something that you're gifted with. Those God-given, beautiful lightning fast reflexes, that radar between his eyes to where he can see everything coming down the pipe from mid to long range. And that's going to be a real problem for Caleb Plant.
Super problem.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, Lisa, you want to go next? Say what you think.
Yeah. Yeah. I still haven't watched the presser. I got to be honest. I fell asleep last night, but I've been watching clips here and there and just gathering up everything, information. I have seen some pictures. It did look like the slap compilation. Huh?
Yeah, thanks for those. I actually used those on a report. They were great pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. I looked at no, somebody else put them up. I just was yeah.
But I got them via you, so they were great pictures.
Yeah, they were. So what I'm gathering is that and then I saw a slow-mo. It looked like maybe Caleb either grazed his face, imprinted it, or I don't know how hard the smack was, but just Canelo's reflexes, like you said, Joseph, was like, whoa. And it was like he dipped down in the counter, and I was like, whoa. And it was hard to see. You know how something is in real time and it's so fast?
I had to watch it 200 times. Yeah. And then Fight Hype has so many different angles of it. I was like, wow, it was like crazy. Then all the people with the little interviews, Ryan Garcia was talking smack. I just ignored it.
Yeah, it was just a lot of it was actually funny, but what I do like this because it kind of brought it sold the fight, and this is what boxing needs, because we haven't had something like that in so long.
Yeah.
Here.
Remember, I was only saying that last week, like, I liked when the press conferences were like violent and, like Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis's, like those types of flipping up tables, everybody fighting, teams fighting, and then bam, this happens. I was like, yes.
You know what? Remember, it was so bad. Remember with Tyson and Lennox, it was so bad. They had the people in the ring, like section. It was crazy. And then remember, one had Jimmy Lennon, and the other had
Michael Booker.
Is the announcer. It was really crazy. I was like, I never saw that, two announcers. It was just like mad crazy.
I loved it. Those were the days. Those were the days. Those were the good old days. AJ, you want to go?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll start next. Okay, like about the whole. I don't know about you, but I find it kind of funny that Canelo, when somebody calls him MF, but still, either way, he initiated the first shove, and Caleb proved he's no scrub by crumbing back, and I think that mostly, not only just the reflexes, but I think he knew Caleb was going to take a shot at him. Because like he's walking back, and it's like, okay, this part. Then he was prepared for it. So I think also reflexes, but also he was prepared for Caleb to swing.
Yeah, but still, you can be prepared, but the reflexes may not catch up.
I'm sorry, I'm agreeing, but also the reflexes too. But but also I think he was prepping Caleb to take a swing, and it's funny now because I'm noticing between the because Caleb he seems to be mouthing off a lot, and he's saying a lot of the same things that I heard him say before. Because I was listening to what he was saying, he said, the press said that Uzateki was going to dog walk him. Oh, but look what I did to him. And I'm like, bro, but this is not Uzateki you're dealing with at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the consensus number one pound for pound fighter in the sport, in the world, that you're going to be in there with. So that means nothing.
Right.
And honestly, I just think it like Canelo's laughing because it's like, bro, I've been here, I don't know how many times already. You know what I mean? And I think like comparing their wills is like, it's like, Caleb Plant's will is kind of like a piece of wood. Canelo's is like metal, iron. That's the difference in their wills.
Yep.
And iron is unbreakable, as we all know. So like Canelo, he's been here, done this several times. It's like, and dude, Oh God, I really wish he wouldn't have poked the bear. I just feel so sorry for him.
That's what happens.
Oh my gosh.
And the people that are on Canelo's, the Canelo fanboys, they're like, oh, it was right. I haven't given my opinion yet. And then the Caleb Plant fanboys were like, he slapped Canelo. It wasn't a slap.
It was. I mean,
a slap.
Chan, like on boxing, like on some website. I'm not going to mention it because I'm not going to give it that much credibility. This, I don't know what this writer was smoking or what type of drugs he's doing, but he literally wrote an article saying that slap landed flush on Canelo's face, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like what? Everybody with eyes to see that knew that slap wasn't flush. I mean, it may have grazed him, but it wasn't flush on it. I mean, what is this? I'm like, wow. I'm like, really, like anybody just be a journalist nowadays, just write whatever crap they want. I mean, but just to follow up, it's like, yeah, I mean, Canelo's been there. We all know this. We've seen what level Canelo's fought at. We see who he's beaten. Joseph, you said this the other day, and I'm going to quote you on this. Caleb Plant's resume is dog shit. All caps.
Now would say Now says it's hot doo.
I think I said that with some sweet amber running through my veins.
No, it's the truth, bro.
The truth serum.
But yes, it is the truth serum, though. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just read the super chat.
My brother AJ.
Super chat. Paul Evans, pick up yourself. Hey, Lady Chann, Lisa, Leon, AJ, and all chat. Can't stay right now. Busy but dropping in to show support for my sister Lady Chann. Oh, thank you so much, Paul.
All good, Mr. Paul. All good.
Always love you. We love Paul. Thank you so much, Paul.
But just to finish up what I was saying right quick. Okay, so like even Billy didn't antagonize Canelo this much, and we also happened to him. But now you've given this man, Canelo Alvarez, a sole reason to go in there and do a job on you. Good luck. That's all I gotta say. Best of luck to you, buddy.
He's gonna need it.
Good luck, bud. Leon?
Yeah, personally, I don't know. For whatever reason, I think Canelo just wasn't in the mood because I don't see what Plant done to warrant it. You know, it's nothing Canelo's hasn't heard before. Nothing Canelo hasn't said before or said similar. So for him to come out and say, "Oh, you don't say that about my mother," just say I wasn't in the mood. Sometimes I get it. You know, you're cool sometimes. Sometimes you're not in the mood. You just snap a bit. And just say he's getting nerves. I decided to shove him, and then he come with he tried to slap me, and then my boxing. I slipped, counted back, and I had to give him a bit of manners. Let him know what's going to happen on November 6th. You know,
so did you think that Caleb Plant landed flush on Canelo?
No, he didn't, and I think I think the word embarrassing is what I'd use. It's embarrassing for Caleb Plant to actually put up a frigging tweet or post an Insta. To show his fingers grazing a man's face after the man's and then slapped you clean. Like I said, he slapped him like a dad slapping a teenage son when he thinks he's getting a bit too big for his boots. It was a full-on hardcore slap. I know he drank soup that night. He didn't eat. He drank soup. His lip was bust. I was just like, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. But then it goes back to this whole perception is reality. Oh, if I put a picture up saying, "Oh, I did."
One sec, Lisa, your audio's a bit like blowing. I don't know if you're near the AC, but because Leon's low, it's yeah.
I think it's me. I'll turn off my fan.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
Yeah, on this whole perception is reality thing, he's thinking if I put out posts and tweets to show like, oh no, I did actually hit him, I did slap him. It's like, that's more embarrassing than getting slapped in itself. Like,
I know. Look, I did do it. Look, Mom, I did do it. Like, you know, it's like when you show your parents, like, I did do something good. Like, you know, and your mum's like, or your parents are like, no, you didn't. You're talking shit. Yeah. Yeah. It's like that.
Lady Chann, can I ask Leon a question, please?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Brother Leon, do you think maybe Canelo Alvarez was instigated before the press conference even began because of all the, malicious tweets that Caleb Plant had been throwing towards Canelo since Oscar Valdez, his teammate, tested positive for a banned substance?
Maybe so, but I still don't think he should have pushed him. I still think it was unnecessary. And then using the whole oh, he mentioned my mother as an excuse. Like you just, as you
Yeah.
said, you just wanted to do him something. You wanted to do him something. You goaded him into hitting you, and you got your wish, and you made him look a complete fool. And I do think it was out of order of Canelo. I think that Caleb Plant was tweeting with his fingers. Canelo could have tweeted with his. Caleb Plant was talking with his mouth. Canelo could have spoken with his. He didn't need to bring it to that. I mean, you know, Caleb Plant probably could have gone to return a push, because I don't know if pushing is kind of an acceptable level of what to do in the face-off. But when you start raising hands and swinging them towards faces, you're asking to get hit back. But I do think Canelo instigated it. I don't think it was necessary, but it's got everyone talking about the fight. However big the fight was before, because I never had much interest in it. I saw it as another certainty that Canelo's going to win. That I didn't really see much point in it, but this has definitely got my interest in it, and it's got a lot of people's interest in it. So Showtime must be rubbing their fingers, thinking that 50 million we put up for this, we might actually come out in the black in this, might actually come out in a bit of profit.
Yeah, well, PBC is who put the money into this? Who put money into this? PBC, right?
Showtime Sports and Steven Espinosa. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, Showtime is airing it. Yeah,
Airing it. Yeah. Okay.
It was supposed to be on Fox, we thought, but I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Could I add something, if I may?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up on Leon's point, I do agree with where he's coming from. That's true. Canelo did not have to shove Caleb like that. I kind of see where he's coming from, because, like, I'm kind of like that's my pet peeve as well, when people put hands on others without any justification if they weren't touched first. I do have an issue with that, and Canelo's a I don't know if he just did this, or is using the MF excuse as an excuse to put hands on him or whatever. Or something must have went down before the press conference to agitate Canelo so much. But yeah, I do agree with Leon. He shouldn't have put his hands on him first.
He was agitated from the tweets that Caleb was doing.
Yeah,
all of that was the build up, and the fact that Caleb was saying, you're a cheat. Because even in while they was facing off, I heard Caleb Plant was saying, you're a cheat. Your whole camp's a cheat. Yeah,
right. But he did instigate it. He did instigate it.
Well, he told the truth. He told what you could technically say was the truth. It's trash talk, but it was facts talk.
No. I mean Canelo by shoving him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
by jumping in, also.
Yeah, it got Canelo's back up to the point where, he just was enraged. He should have, like someone said, he should have kept it professional, even though we all enjoyed it. But in the grand scheme of things, you should have kept it professional, because it made it look like that what Caleb Plant was saying, that you lost your cool.
Yeah, like it struck a serious nerve, pretty much.
It did.
Yeah, Caleb.
Go ahead, Lise.
I was gonna say, but that's like the pot calling the kettle black. When you're over there on Snack, I'm not saying that Snack is not legit. I'm not saying that, but you're working directly with Conte. I'm not saying that Conte is not legit now.
And Remy Corkemy, two gentlemen who have been ostracized from other pastimes, other sports.
Wow. Okay, now I don't know the other person.
Excellent point, Lisa Bales. Yeah, excellent point. And keep in mind, guys, this is the very first time in his entire professional career that Caleb Plant is going to undergo the Veda testing protocol. So we'll see what happens.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah, we will.
I thought those snack people do Veda. Now you got me saying Veda.
Vada.
Say Vada.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm from Texas, guys. Please excuse me.
I know. You're the Vada crew.
You good, Joe? You good,
Vada. Yeah. Veda. Yeah. Everyone's got different accents. I thought they would have to be in that scheme already, in the program already. No.
No, because he's never had to compete for the WBC, which always uses as part of their clean boxing program the VADA testing protocol.
So hasn't he been? I thought that would have been put in place a good cut as soon as the deal was struck.
They don't start testing until the fight is officially announced.
Okie doke.
And it wasn't official until yesterday. Now, keep in mind, and now this was very risky, and I thought this is telling. I kind of broke the news on Friday on my show, where I dropped the bomb saying, hey, guys, from what I've just been told, Fox has pulled out of this fight. And so it's amazing to me that Heyman, he secured this deal with Canelo, but he didn't have the finances in place yet. That was fascinating to me. Now, keep in mind, this isn't just a $10 million purse like Crawford Porter. This is $50 million rock that he guaranteed without having the funding in place. That's shocking to me. So when Fox pulled out of this, I was like, oh my gosh, what's good? So luckily for everyone involved, Steven Espinosa and Showtime Sports stepped up and decided to guarantee this mammoth $50 million purse. And with pay-per-view and piracy being the way it is now, yeah, it's going to be very difficult to turn a profit, even though this is the biggest star in North America, Canelo Alvarez. The antiquated pay-per-view model, the one that goes through and uses the cable and satellite distributors, this is going to be it's going to be very difficult for Showtime Sports to even break even on this. That means with a $50 million purse. Now, keep in mind, guys, people forget, and even journalists don't report this, but with the antiquated pay-per-view model, because the cable and satellite distributors not only distribute the product, but they're also responsible for collecting all of the money through cable bills, right? So they demand between 40 and 50% of the gross proceeds. That means to break even, just to break even, right, from a huge $50 million purse, you're going to have to sell between 1.1 and 1.2 million pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what are the chances of that actually happening in this climate of piracy?
This is what I'm thinking.
Canelo fans do piracy.
Wow.
All fans do.
You already know people are going to stream this. I mean, nobody's going to know. Not everybody's going to buy it.
Well,
yeah, you have a section of people that are not going to buy it. And
the biggest culprits, guys, I hate to say this, are the diehard boxing fans. Those are the ones, like the ones who have the passion and follow the sport every day. Those are the primary demographic that are guilty of illegally streaming these events. And the reason why is because, well, they have us. We need our boxing fix. We don't pass up any event, right? And so boxing diehards are the biggest culprits because we depend on seeing these every single week. Well, it gets very expensive if you actually choose to pay for everything. Now, and one of the reasons why you see the Jake Pauls and the Logan Pauls and the Floyd Mayweather Jr. events doing so much better in terms of gross proceeds and pay-per-view sales is because it appeals to a more mainstream and casual demographic. So in order to actually cross that million purchase threshold, this Showtime Sports, they're going to have to be able to sell this event to a mainstream and casual demographic. Because I'm sorry, statistics have already shown that diehard boxing fans are no longer purchasing any of these events.
I don't know. I do think diehard Mexican boxing fans will be willing to purchase a pay-per-view. I think they see it as supporting Canelo, supporting one of their own. Yeah. Because if this will be the telling factor, isn't it? Because he was the last person to do anything near what's needed to get this pay-per-view, to get this pay-per-view in credit, to do those numbers. So
I don't think he cares about what if the promotional companies need to break even. He just cares that I'm getting 40 million and that better be there, and whatever's other, that's you guys' business. As long as I'm getting my 40 milli, that's on you guys if you don't make it back. But my 40 milli is guaranteed.
Yeah, well, look, it's an uphill battle. And Showtime, boy, they really have their work cut out for them.
Yes,
because
they do.
Once again, and I just saw that comment where it's like the sponsors in the gate alone. Well, maybe not, because when you look at a very healthy gate, like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 2, they pulled in a huge $19 million. And even with 850,000 purchases domestically on the antiquated pay-per-view model, they still lost money. because of the millions of dollars that they spent promoting that event. Also, keep in mind, guys, it's not just the purses involved. It's also the cost of the promotion.
Yeah. Yeah. And
didn't they promote that like with Super Bowl ads and all that too?
That's right. Also with the NCAA bowl games, making personal appearances. Tyson Fury they were at several bowl games. Same with Deontay Wilder, and that costs a ton of money with the press conferences, with the promotional little movies, the mini movies that they make to promote these events. That all costs a ton of money. So we'll see, guys. But once again, going back to Fury versus Wilder 2, even with the $19 million gate, it still lost money.
But the fighters still got their money.
Oh,
and they
of course.
And they got the back end. They got Fury and Wilder walked away with 30 million each after that fight.
Yeah,
they got 10 million guarantee, and then after the PPV in the gate, it's funny. They got 30 mil.
Chann, I mean, I mean, what really gets me is like I don't know why they were guaranteed that much large. I mean, that amount in large purses anyway when they're not worth that much on their own. I mean, I think it was completely insane paying them that much. I mean, like, why would you choose to give? I mean, like, why would you? How could they be? On earth could they be? I mean, see, the biggest slap in the face. What I find even more hilarious is that Anthony Joshua in the Ruiz rematch, he was paid more than double that.
Because the zone offered Wilder 100 million for 2 Joshua fights and a Brazil fight.
Yeah,
and that's out by Lou DiBella. It was Lou DiBella sent at that meeting. That's what guaranteed, because they had to come back with something substantial for Wilder. After he's seen what money that they're making him turn down. Okay, you're going to turn down 40 million for the 40 million each for the 2 Joshua fights and 20 million for Brazil. We'll give you an Ortiz pay-per-view and we'll give you 2 Fury matches. And they had to give him something similar. And I think that's what's pushed them up. And I think that's what's pushed them deep into the red. And I think they're going to dig themselves more into it, because I think they locked in a high purse before COVID, and that's all locked in now for this trilogy. And as we said, we got so much buzz around the Canelo fight. Joshua's selling out stadiums and everything else. His fights are going well. So we're just hoping that, the PBC and Top Rank are just hoping, begging, praying that people are going to actually purchase this pay-per-view, because they know they've dug a deep hole for themselves. And at the moment, they have to keep digging because they've promised these guys a damn trilogy. This is why I don't understand why they took it when Top Rank could have got out of it. This is why I don't think that Fury or Wilder will ever take the Joshua fight. I just don't see them ever taking it.
Well, that's an excellent observation, Leon, and you're absolutely right about that. And this is one of the primary reasons why Top Rank and everyone in Team Fury and everyone was trying to get out of the trilogy fight. Now, keep in mind, through this entire ordeal, you never heard once a statement from Fox or PBC trying to make a third fight happen, right? You never heard that the entire time Deontay Wilder and Team Wilder were making a case for arbitration. This is why all parties involved, right? ESPN, Fox, PBC, Top Rank, they all wanted out of this albatross. The only party that wanted the third fight to happen was Team Wilder. That's it. You never heard anything from Heyman. All you heard from were Shelley Finkel and Deontay Wilder. That's the only party involved that actually wanted this fight to happen, because it's a guaranteed loser. And that's the primary reason why Fox passed the Canelo versus Plant fight, because they understood that the chances of them actually making money on this third fight are slim to none.
Right. And so they're going to lose money now.
I think the third fight with Wilder, that's going to be a financial disaster too.
Yep, that's it. And Fox is already planning on this.
Yeah, you can already see there's very minimal promotion here. I don't know what it's like on your side of the pond, but
I've seen they got that episode on Fox YouTube channel.
It's outstanding, isn't it?
I still haven't seen it, honest Joseph. I'll get around to it.
No, he's being sarcastic.
No. I'm not. I'm not actually. I'm being dead
he's
serious.
being
Yeah. Look, and once again,
trash.
well, once again, and I had
Rubbish, Joseph. How's it outstanding? I could do that and edit that and do that on my phone. That's not promotion. I do more promotion on my channel with my news clips. That's not promotion. I want to see it on my Amazon when I'm on my YouTube. I want to see it on the commercials. Fury, Wilder, the trilogy. I want to see stuff like that. I want to see billboards. I want to see posters. I want to see flyers. I want to see everything. I don't see nothing. We don't see nothing here.
Well, here's the primary reason why. Because they spent almost $7 million on the first promotion and it lost money. Don't expect to see that kind of financial support for this one because they understand that they're up against it. So, no, the promotion's not going to be as big as the second. My point was, I had no interest in this fight until I actually saw that Fox promo. And when I watched it, gosh, I was shaking my head and I'm like, damn you guys. It's like they're taking advantage of us being boxing diehard lifers, right? And as soon as I watched that thing, I'm like, oh, geez. I felt like Al Pacino on Godfather 3. As soon as I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Because I was dialed in after that. And to be honest with you, yeah, I am all in for this one again. Damn you guys.
Just as you was breaking free.
Yep. I'm dialed in once again, guys.
I don't know if I'm dialed in. Maybe when it gets to the day I'll be more dialed in, but I'm not that dialed. I don't know, because I just can't stand the both of them.
Me too. Yeah, I can't stand them either. I mean, the thing is, Joseph, they convinced.
I just can't stand them.
They're Joseph, they convinced you, but will they be able to convince everybody else? They convinced you, Joseph, but everybody else?
More than likely not, because, like I said, I live for this stuff. I mean, I've devoted the past 20 plus years to this sport. I mean,
I'll be dialed in for work. Work-wise, I'm dialed in for work. But you're gonna have to. But really, as me removed from work, I'm not dialed in. I'm not.
Have you seen their promotional featurette yet? Have you seen it yet?
What? Okay. The thing that you're talking about.
I defy you to watch the Fox promotional featurette. That's about maybe 15, 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And then you come back on the show and tell us if you're not stoked about watching this third fight play out.
I just saw Wilder doing PBC do a live. Did you guys see that?
That's different. Yeah, I was actually a part of that.
I didn't check that out. No,
I had the volume down low, but he was chatting shit yet again, just chatting shit.
Wait, let me clarify this for you guys, because Joseph, I don't know if I could ever take a black man seriously after I saw him twerking in the backyard and does the black fist like a like he's marching for civil rights or something like that.
Oh jeez.
That pretty much I mean, if I was Tyson Fury, I'd want a T-shirt with that photo on there with him sticking his
with him twerking.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Coming like that.
You can't get. And I'm sorry. And we posted that. I mean, are people just gonna forget that Happened? Like was that in a dream? Like we didn't see this man twerking in the backyard. Like he's trying to win. Like he's twerking at a competition or something like that. We're supposed to just ignore that and not take him seriously.
He's dead. Every time I watch a Wilder interview, I lose a brain cell by the second. My credit score drops as well.
It's cringeworthy, isn't it, guys?
I can't commit. I hate how he speaks. I just hate go and get a bit of elocution lessons. You've got 30 mil. Come on now.
Oh boy.
He says things like, I knowed it. I knowed it.
Oh my gosh.
I knowed it, and it was gooder. And it was gooder.
The man can't talk. He's not very well spoken. As a matter of fact, I don't know. I don't know if it's got Lady Chann. This reminds me of what you just said. It reminds me of a movie. It's called Billy Madison's. It's an old Adam Sandler film. And in the movie, the main character played by it, he says something so dumb that like the moderator of the competition, he's in top of like he goes, I just want to let you know that what you said was one of the most dumbest, insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. Everybody who heard this is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul. That's Deontay Wilder every time he does an interview.
Every time.
It's cringeworthy, guys.
It's too cringe. How much out of this documentary, out of the 20 minutes, is he featured on it?
Oh, jeez. Every time I hear Deontay Wilder do an interview, I want a translator on board.
Me too. Subtitles. I want subtitles.
Yeah.
I want someone that does sign language, because I'll just understand. It's easier for me to understand sign language that I've never actually learned than to listen to Deontay Wilder. Like, I'd rather mute him and just watch the signer do just sign, please.
That's bad, guys.
Joe, I don't know if I can sit to Mr. Twerks a lot. I'm not sure. I could take him seriously. I don't know, man. I might get around to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm gonna watch him get beat down again.
Yeah, it's all pointless. There's no way that Tyson Fury could lose this third fight. No way. I don't see him losing. It's just a waste of time.
I can see it happening. I can, just for the annoying.
You see?
An upset. I can see a draw.
Just for the annoying fact of, I just think if Wilder beats him, they'll bloody do a fourth one. And
no, anything but that.
They've already said on record, no fourth. There's none. Frank Warren said, no fourth. There's none. This is the last thing. They ain't got no more money to keep doing all this shit.
Thank you. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time.
It's already said. It's already said, no fourth, Leon. No quadrilogy. No, not on my watch. Nope.
But I will say this: Wilder actually manages to win, that's a damn indictment on Tyson Fury. It really is. I don't see him losing at all. But honestly, I'm giving Wilder a puncher's chance in this third fight. That's it.
Yeah, give him a puncher's chance. I could see it could go to a draw, and that would be soul destroying for both of them.
That'd be hilarious, honestly, if he scored a draw again.
Keep in mind, though, guys, and I think one thing that you guys are really discounting is that when you say someone has a puncher's chance, it means very little in any other division in boxing but the heavyweight division. When you're talking about the heavyweights, when you say someone has a puncher's chance, especially someone with the athleticism and power of Wilder, he's always in every fight. I don't care what kind of chin or resolve or confidence that you have. You can get knocked out. If you can get your brain shaken from a shot, you're going to get knocked out. And there's always that possibility.
No, some people get up. Fury got up twice. I always say punch power is subjective to the opponent that you are facing. If you are facing people that deliver, usually in their day job, deliver pizzas, and then they come in the fucking ring because they've got a pro license. Of course, they have no punch resistance, and they can get just dropped. Like, you can blow them and they get dropped. They just want their check and go back to Papa John's. That's it. When you went to elite and you hit someone elite and you knocked them down twice and they got up. Sorry, I don't know what really is your punch power. What is it really?
Well, once again, I'm sorry, Leon. Go ahead, sir. My apologies.
Sorry, Joseph. What I will say is this: pretty much everything went wrong for Wilder in that fight, and he still was on his feet. He was still on his feet. His team had to throw the towel in. So but
he got dropped.
Many times, but he kept getting up, as you were just saying, getting up, and many times. So it's like he has a lot of a ceiling to improve, and that's what I'm saying. There is an actual chance. I don't agree with the whole narrative that Wilder's got absolutely no chance and all the rest of it. One, this is Fury.
He's got about 5%.
More than that, you don't know what Fury's mental state is. For one, he might wake up that morning and be in Mr. Bipolar mode and just come out of wildness and not pay attention. Like he might wake up that morning and not be bothered, not be interested. He's just one of those kind of wild, characters. Yeah, like you've got his mental X factor, plus the fact that Wilder can make improvements. That's the fact, as I said.
But he's under Sugar Hill. I don't think he would let Javon down like that. Be going like, I can't be bothered with this fight today. I'm just going to fight trash. I just don't think that that's going to be a possibility.
Well, can I give an update on this show?
Sure can.
I spoke with Javen 2 days ago when they arrived in Vegas, because we were supposed to have him back on the show this week. And he told me, he said, look, as per request from Tyson, that we're not to do any media that falls outside of our contractually obligated spots with both Fox and ESPN, but anything else than that, we're not doing anything else until fight week. So yeah, so they're very, very serious in the last 3 weeks of this camp. Good
for them. Good. Someone's got to be serious, because we're all laughing. It's always, we laugh at that. We laugh, not Javen, but the whole thing is a mockery. So try and be serious. Be serious. Get this fight over and done with, and let us live our lives.
And that's their entire attitude going into this. They're like, look, let's just get this albatross off of our neck and let's move on. Let's take care of business and move on. And it's the attitude that Javen and Tyson have right now is that they're very resentful that not only did they miss out on a career high payday against Anthony Joshua, but also the opportunity to move forward and fight for the first undisputed heavyweight champion in the 4-belt era.
Yeah, but that was Fury's fault.
Well, it was fault. Everyone involved. Everyone involved. It was their fault. And if you want to point the finger and really cast aspersions to, as far as casting blame, it's Bob Arum.
Yeah,
he just handled this thing miserably.
He was according to Eddie Hearn. Joe, tell me if I'm right on this. I'm sorry to cut you off, but tell me. Let me ask you. Because according to interviews that Eddie Hearn did, he said that he was repeatedly assured by them that arbitration would not get in the way of the fight happening.
That's it. That's why I blame Arum. Arum is the one who told everyone, "Look, my attorneys are on it. They assure me that there's no way he can be held accountable and to go through with this contract.
You'll pay money, and that will be it. That will be the absolute worst thing. Is that you'll have to pay money, but they are not going to be. Fury's not fighting Wilder. Don't worry. I saw him go to different platforms saying it. I saw him with my own eyes.
It was Arum. Arum assured everyone involved that there was no chance that any arbitrator would rule in favor of Deontay Wilder.
Because it expired.
Because it expired. Right? That's right.
And then there was in December, he could have said, I'm not doing the fight. Listen, even if the arbitrator, which he did, the arbitrator ruled that this fight has to happen. You know, an arbitrator can't physically pull you by your sleeve and make you go fight in the ring. I'm like, I ain't doing it. What's the price that I've got to pay? Because I've got $120 million fight in Saudi. I'll pay it out of that because I ain't fighting him. If you don't want to fight, you don't have to fight. It was arbitration. It wasn't court.
That is correct. But and I've been a part of a lot of these. If an arbitrator rules in the favor of the opposing party, if you go against that, well, then you can easily get judgment, and the penalty will be very high, not only in terms of monetary, right? Not only in terms of financial dollars, but chances are you're going to be suspended. You're going to get your license revoked for the next 2 years.
How? In arbitration? How?
No. It's whenever an arbitrator's ruling, right? You can easily go get judgment, and the judge will more than likely rule in favor of the arbitrator's ruling.
Yeah, but Deontay Wilder would have to elevate it to that, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't take much.
Remember, the contract expired.
That's right. It did expire. That's why it was such a huge shock to Bob Arum and everyone on that side of the fence. They were like, there's no way that any arbitrator is going to rule in a binding agreement in favor of Deontay Wilder. It was a shock to everyone involved.
Could have been force majeure. Force majeure because of the pandemic.
That's what I was saying. That's what Bob Arum thought.
No, Canelo fought in that time. Joshua fought in that time.
Yep.
The people that are making big money.
Several big names got out there during the pandemic. Yeah,
everyone, loads.
The world continued with boxing, and boxing shows were going on, The networks couldn't
Because
agree
of
a time.
Eddie, mainly.
They're so deep in the money. They're so deep in the hole with the first two fights. They wanted to give themselves the best chance, and their time ran out. That is nobody's fault but theirs.
Yep.
Joshua with a thousand fans in a stadium in a tiny stadium in Wembley next to the arena that he's used to fighting in. People were taking pay cuts. Canelo waited a bit longer. Fought in front of 60,000.
Joshua he took a massive pay cut and just had 1,000 people. He said, I don't care about the money. He literally fought for free. He literally fought for free.
Leon, from what I was told from Bruce Trampler of Top Rank, is that everyone thought that no one thought that the deal would take over 5 months to solidify. They didn't plan on that. They thought for sure they were going to be able to schedule, promote, and execute an event a lot sooner than it took. Now, keep in mind, they were talking about putting this together as early as December. They were already in talks about making the deal with Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. And they thought for sure that they would have that fourth fight already put together and executed by at least April or May.
Third fight.
No one believed that it was going to take Eddie Hearn that long to secure that massive site fee.
Didn't take him that long. Well, it's a massive deal. Of course, you just don't do that off the flick of your hat, of the tip of your hat. It's a massive deal. He was he was also under COVID restrictions, so he couldn't be flying in and out. Everything had to be a lot of phones and everything virtual Zooms and stuff like that. Different time zones. They was building a stadium. They was rebuilding a stadium back for this fight. They was rebuilding the stadium. It was 4 months in.
Lady Chann, my point is, though, when they first started the ball rolling and everyone was on board to making that fight happen, no one had any idea that they were going to have plans for, one, such a massive site fee of $150 million. That's never happened within the sport of boxing. And two, no one had any idea that these guys were going to create and build a stadium specifically for this event. No one had any clue when that ball first started rolling.
They had no intentions of fighting AJ. Go ahead, Lee.
Sorry, Joseph. We got the two biggest promoters in the US, the mecca of boxing. Why are they sitting on their backsides waiting for Eddie Hearn, some guy in the UK, to put this
run around?
Thank you.
No. Well, here's the reason. It's because Eddie was so confident that he could get the biggest site fee in the history of the sport. So Bob said, look, if you can secure that kind of money, you take the ball and you run with it, brother. And you can't blame him for actually taking that position. Why get involved if you've got a salesman like Eddie who's consistently saying, hey, brother, I got this. I have this relationship already with the Saudis. It's a done deal.
It was a done deal.
Hold on, but Warren must know people in the Middle East. What Warren could
he's been around for how many eons?
Yeah, why couldn't they go on the search for people out there? It's not only
the A side do the most work, but they did the B side did nothing and just solely blamed Eddie. Oh, he's moving too slow. It was all a plan. It was all a plan.
Guys, and remember how during there were certain points during this whole gap where they kept hinting that they might fight Deontay Wilder for a third time.
From April, that happened in April this year. I remember.
Because
we might fight Wilder.
Because it was taking way too long. Yeah, they did put a contingency in place, and that was the Wilder fight.
I mean, even before the arbitration
no one anticipated, not even Eddie Hearn, no one anticipated this fight taking 5 to 6 months long. That was absurd. Now, keep in mind, guys, back in January, and I wrote articles about this. Back in January, Eddie Hearn was saying, well, we hope to have an announcement within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
he kept saying that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, and then that turned into 5 months.
I mean, but also before the arbitration ruling came down.
Not even Eddie Hearn. No one anticipated that this was going to take this long. That's why it ended up going to arbitration. They had no idea that it was going to take that long. They already had planned, okay, we'll go ahead and put this deal together. And because the first fight will have already taken place, there's no way an arbitrator will rule in favor of Deontay Wilder because these things are already happening. They didn't plan on it dragging out until June.
But Joe, right quick, like you said that like they had a contingency in place, like that contingency was to fight Wilder just in case the Fury fight fell through. I mean, because like before the arbitration ruling came down, they already had a deal locked in place in July.
No, after about March or April, they had no confidence that Eddie Hearn was actually going to come through with this deal because it was dragging out so long. That's why they moved on that contingency. So they already had a venue. They already had a date. And of course, the contract, they already had an agreement for a third fight. So they said, look, guys, we have no confidence that Eddie Hearn is going to come through with this after waiting around for 3 or 4 months. So, guys, let's just have this contingency in place in case it doesn't happen. And that's from what I was told. That's the way it went down.
It weren't like that. Maybe it was a lie. Sorry, Joseph, this is what I have to do. They knew the whole time that there was an arbitration, and then they tried to make it like it was fine. They told Eddie it was fine. Everybody said it was fine. If they even got a hint that it wasn't fine, what they should have did was, you know what, we're in arbitration, Eddie. Let's just halt everything. We'll wait and see until the ruling, and then we'll go from there. Not any point in time did they say that. They kept reassuring Eddie it's fine, knowing that Eddie was back and forth trying to get things done. They could have nipped it in the bud and said, Eddie,
that's right. So going back to my original statement, that's why I said Aram is to blame for all of this breakdown.
Aram,
I originally said that. That's the truth.
Frank Warren. All of them, all Team Fury. Eddie was naive, but he had to deal with them to try and make the deal. It's their fighter that his fighter needs to fight. So if Team Fury are saying everything's okay, so what is Eddie supposed to do? Oh, I don't believe you. And then the minute Eddie says, I don't believe you, I'm not making the fight. Oh, AJ's ducking. Look, he didn't want to make the fight. So he's damned if he does and he's damned if he don't.
Yeah. It's always the same narrative. That's why I'm sick of them. I'm sick of both of them.
I'm sick of
all
them.
Of them.
I am.
All just a talking point. It's just, we just want to be. Yeah,
but the right quick, Justin, quick question.
We just want to see undisputed heavyweight. That's all, and all the back and forth.
I don't care what the arbitrator. I would have stood firm. Like if the arbitrator is gonna make me not fight them for 2 years or 1 year or whatever, I don't think that I would have called the arbitrators bluff. I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting Wilder. He dissed my culture. He dissed my people. I ain't doing it. How much is it to get out of this contract? I will give you money to get out of this contract. If Wilder wants 20 mil, I'll give you the 20 mil because I'm going over here definitely to make 160 mil.
And remember, Wilder said enough inflammatory things for Fury to have his own reasons.
That's an excellent point, Leon.
He didn't need to wait for no arbitration. He could have said, I'm not interested in any arbitration. This man has accused me of some crap. I'm not going down with this guy.
What I want to know is, Leon, why wasn't that their sole or primary argument in getting out of this mess?
Because they didn't want to get out of it because they was
Why wasn't that brought up in arbitration?
It was
allegations, everything, all of it.
They were fighting Wilder the whole time.
You're assuming, Lady Chann. I'm just reporting, guys, what I was told and what happened, right? But now you're starting to assume that they had no intention, and I can tell you with great certainty that everyone on Team Fury, even PBC, wanted out of this huge financial bloodbath that's coming on October 9th.
But Joseph,
everyone involved wanted out of that deal except for Team Wilder.
They can't be that incompetent, though, because it took one element of competence to cancel this all out. One of them in that boardroom somewhere could have had the idea, could have had the golden nugget, the golden egg, to have said, we need to just say this, and we don't need to actually bother with this fight.
That's right. I can't understand why that wasn't a huge part of their defense, because in my opinion, all you have to do is bring up the mental state of Deontay Wilder following that brutal loss and say, look, this guy with all of his slanderous, delusional accusations, he needs to undergo a psychological evaluation before we're held to term on this. I don't understand why that wasn't made.
You're not thinking of You're not thinking of the big elephant in the room. Hey, Queen, what's up, Leon?
Babe.
Lisa, my girl, what's going on, y'all?
Glad to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I just woke up and I heard you guys cooking, so I thought I'd jump in.
Yep, you got to jump in.
So here's the thing. This is what you're missing, I believe. From Wilder's perspective, who the hell else is he gonna make this kind of money with?
Exactly. That's why he was the only party involved that actually wanted to fight.
He can make it with AJ.
Trying to fight AJ. He's not going to fight AJ. I truly believe
off a knockout loss. There's no interest in that fight any longer.
I truly believe this. I told Chann this. I told Leon this.
What did Joe just say? Leon. There's no interest.
Can you wait, Hap?
0.
I told Chann this. I told Leon this. I told Lisa this. I truly believe, even if Wilder wins this fight on the 9th, I don't believe Wilder has any interest in being an undisputed heavyweight champion, because if you're undisputed, you have to fight mandatories, and I don't believe Wilder has any interest in that.
Disagree.
Haplo, has he ever shown a history of willingness to unify the weight division?
He wants to be undisputed.
Okay, and you're saying this how?
I don't think he does.
So how come he didn't?
He's never shown the history of this, Haplo.
I don't see any. I don't see.
Yeah. When did he try to unify Hap?
He wanted to make the fight happen.
Okay.
When did he try to unify Hap? In 5 years.
What's the question?
When did he try to unify? In the whole 5 years.
With AJ.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So someone that gives you an offer but you're ducking them. If I offer you money, how am I ducking you?
Well, then again, AJ said, "Give me 50 million and I'll fight you." And
drop that dead one. You know that
50 million. That was not.
You know that is as dead as Tutankhamun in his fucking tomb. That one is dead. Drop that one.
Look, I know I'm in AJ country right now. Right, you know that. Right?
That has nothing to do with it.
Well, you know I love
it. I'm American.
It's just critical thinking, brother. It has nothing to do with AJ country.
I love
anyway,
I'm a Wilder fan. Right now, I'm a Wilder fan in AJ country. But hey, what I wanted to say was what I wanted to say was salute to Lisa for body bagging MFers like crazy the other.
I heard
I don't know
about
if you guys heard it.
I heard about it.
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to look at.
She was body bagging me, low key.
Oh yeah, you got body.
No, I love you, Haplo. You my baby.
Yeah, but you have to get body.
No, but you still bodied me.
Yeah, you have to get a body here and there.
But you know, low key, I let her body bag me, low key. But
you always let somebody do shit happen. We love the fact that you got a different opinion, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on here talking about Wilder, so give me a little bit of respect.
About Wilder.
Yeah, we're different opinions.
No, but I'm defending Wilder, so.
Cool.
I gotta.
I have some facts with the defense. I beg of thee.
Yeah.
Well, the only defense I have is that AJ said, "I want 50 million and I'll fight Wilder tomorrow." And then the next day or two later,
Joseph, please.
He said, "No."
That 50 million was a bluff. That wasn't real. The 50 million wasn't real.
It wasn't real.
Look, man, in this business,
who's saying that wasn't real? Who was that?
I did.
Well, let him then, Haplo, and then maybe you'll find out.
Look, actions speak louder than words in this business, Haplo.
I said it.
Look, according to Gary Russell, he wants to fight every 3 months, but that hasn't happened over the past 5-6 years. Okay, once again, in this business, actions speak louder than words. If you're serious about fighting, okay, if two fighters are serious about competing in the ring, it's not difficult to make, guys.
Yeah. Man had the belt 5 years, not one time tried to unify. Not one.
And this is going back to when Vladimir Klitschko was the champion.
Hang on, Joe. Leon, I think, is trying to address me with something. Yeah. What's up?
Before AJ even had a belt, he was there with somebody.
Haplo, let him speak and stop interrupting.
I just. Jeez.
No, you're not allowed to ad lib. You're not allowed to breathe heavy. You're not allowed to sigh. You're not allowed to live.
Hey,
right now, you're not allowed to
Lady Chann, is there any way you can
Lisa
turn up
and Lady Chann are just getting vicious over here.
Lady
you
Chann,
know how we go. Haplo, I love you to pieces. You know, but you know when it comes to my AJ, don't do it.
Lady Chann, is there any way you can turn up Leon's mic because he's having a problem?
He's a little low. I was just
Leon
trying
don't have
to
a
hear
mic. I keep telling Leon to get the mic what I've got, and he hasn't got it.
I'm just trying to hear Leon.
Okay, so
he was trying to address me.
Then be quiet, Haplo.
Thank you.
I was saying he had Charles Martin in his camp with a belt. Why didn't he unify? Make it in-house fight. If he had any interest in being undisputed, why is he never unified? There was option before AJ was even there, before anything to do with Joshua even existed, before Joshua was even a champion. He had Charles Martin, but they sent Charles Martin over to London when he didn't need to go. Why did if Wilder was so interested in being undisputed, if he was so interested in unifying, why didn't he take that option? This is why we say he had no interest. He was happy with the WBC belt. He's even said it. It's the most prestigious belt. It's the only one that matters. He's happy with that one belt. It means
Leon, it goes even back further than that.
Okay, wait. Can I answer?
Yeah, go back further.
No, you can't, dude, because I'm going to bring this up even further. It goes back even further than that, guys. Look, Shelly Finkel was all. Look, guy out there, brother. Shelly Finkel was also the advisor to Vladimir Klitschko. Okay, the advisor to Deontay Wilder was also the advisor to Vladimir Klitschko. It goes back even further than that. That was an easy fight to make, guys. Vladimir Klitschko versus Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, but I'm the one who. I'm the one who Leon was addressing. So can I answer?
Well, you're just with what? It's just opinion.
Go ahead. It's fact.
All right, let me just answer Leon real quick. The thing that I'm saying, the only point I'm making is, yes, I know at the beginning he wasn't trying to unify, okay, and I'm a Wilder fan, all right. So he wasn't trying to unify at the beginning, but at one point he was, and that was when AJ went on that interview and he said, "I want $50 million." And then Wilder came up with the offer for $50 million immediately thereafter.
Via email.
So 24 hours.
You know,
24 hours.
You got 24 hours to respond. Here's the email. Eddie Hearn came on.
Who's saying 24 hours? Who's that saying that?
He said within 24 hours.
You have to respond. 24 hours. Yes, that's what he said. 24 hours.
But no, I just want to know who's that talking.
It's me.
Me. I'm talking me.
AJ. It's AJ.
AJ, aka Alex, me. I'm talking. I'm saying.
Who's me?
It's a guy called AJ. Go on. What do you want? His fucking national insurance.
Okay. I just want to know who I'm talking to. That's all.
Okay, it's AJ.
Yeah, I go by the name AJ as well. Also, Alex. You could call me that. AJ, Alex.
All right, cool. So. No disrespect.
Call him AJ. I know you hate it. Go ahead.
I don't know.
So what's up?
Yeah, you have to call him AJ. That's his name. I know you hate
the
letters A and J. You miss them out in the alphabet when you start the alphabet. You start the alphabet
like
this: B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, and then yeah. You miss
Chann, can I ask you a question?
Yes, I do.
I know you do.
Chann is fucking vicious.
Chann, can I ask you a question, Chann?
Yeah,
can I ask you a question, Chann?
I'm tripping with you.
Yeah, I know you.
I love it though. That's
Here's
what I
the
like.
question: why do people keep sticking on this $50 million? We know this dude ain't got no $50 million.
It wasn't a serious offer, guys.
Where's he
No one ever said he had $50 million. No one ever said he had $50 million.
Where's he gonna get it from,
bro?
Okay. Wait, guys.
Al Heyman,
Hold on.
Al Heyman don't get. He can pay them dudes $2 million and fucking them on the back end. How's he gonna get somebody $50 million? Come on, man, stop.
Bro, Al Heyman has $50 million.
Oh, jeez. Let me ask you something. Has Al Heyman ever bankrolled a fight out of his own pocket? No.
Nope.
No, what he does, no, Joe, but what he does, what he does is he gets other people to foot the bill, Joe.
Guys,
yes,
can I
he
say
does,
something?
and he
Can I say
never
something?
had a willingness. It was a bullshit offer, Haplo. Because
Guys,
if you're interested in making
I
a
don't think
fight,
so.
then it's made.
Guys,
Yeah,
can
I
I
think
clarify? Okay,
Let Joseph finish. Wait, let Joseph finish.
Sorry,
Go
Joe.
ahead,
Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, AJ. I'm sorry. You have a question, brother?
No, I just want to say something. Okay, here's how I know that $50 million was BS. So, like, Frank Warren did an interview on YouTube. You could probably find it if you look it up. He said that money was going to come from BT Sport.
And AJ
can anybody explain what's wrong with that? Well, what does AJ fight at?
Because AJ was
Where?
Sky. Yes, I get it.
So how did he fight?
But he also said, give me $50 million and I'll fight tomorrow. Mic drop.
And can I say something? I have to add something to that, Mike.
Go ahead,
no,
Reese.
you
Go ahead,
can't say
Reese.
mic drop. Guess what? You better pick up that. You better pick up that mic.
Did he leave? Is he gone?
No, I have to add something.
Where are
Hold
you?
up.
Get your ass back on the panel.
We all talking at one time. Hold up. Let me just add something.
Haplo left.
Wow. Went on. Okay, but still, I need to let this be known to the panel that Eddie Hearn wanted to meet with Shelley Finkel. He was in New York. And hey, listen, he needed a verbal agreement that they were going to do that. And you can, if you make a verbal agreement in New York, it is legally binding.
Binding. So that's why they tried
and
to.
And he did not meet with them because they did not verbally agree to it. So mic drop.
That's absolutely correct. Look, guys, this is a classic.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
This is a classic scenario of someone pricing themselves out of a matchup. It happens all the time in boxing when you're not serious about. Look, when two fighters and two parties are serious about making a fight happen, it happens. It's not rocket science, guys.
But if someone makes you an offer. First
they're pricing themselves out. It was an unrealistic offer.
Yeah, 12 million, 12.5. That was turned down. That was turned down. He said it was a slave contract, even though that was the most he would ever have made at that point. How can the person then they offered you 120 mil and then you duck that as well, and then you come and say, "Wait,
let's take it in sequence."
Haplo, I haven't finished. So and then he goes on Twitter because he's in his feelings because his ex-girlfriend Tyson Fury has broke up with him. He said, "Oh, I could have bought AJ for way more money than you, but I didn't."
Just about to say that.
So he let the cat out of the bag. He ducked. So forget this 50 million. He admitted he ducked.
Let's take this in sequence. My phone's about to die. So I just want to say this.
Charge it.
I can't right now. I can't. But let's take things in sequence.
Or something. Why can't you charge your phone?
I'm in LA and it's like Guantanamo Bay right now. People are getting straight jacked on the street.
The weather out there.
But
oh man, LA. Stop hating on LA now. Stop hating on LA. I'm right here.
He's from LA. Haplo's from there too.
So they're jacking fools out here.
Not everybody. I don't get jacked.
Let me just say this real quick, and not you, motherfucker. Well, goddamn. So look, you got to take things in sequence, right? Things in sequence, okay? Before the 120 DAZN deal, which never guaranteed him an AJ fight anyway, right? Way before that.
AJ put the offer in, so how is it not AJ fight?
Can you prove that?
Look, guys, why are we even talking about this anyway? Is what I want to know.
Can I just finish real quick and I'll be gone. I'll leave you guys.
Go ahead, finish, Haplo. Finish, Haplo.
Okay. All right. So before that 120 million, right? There was Wilder offering him 50 million. Okay, that happened. Okay, whether you think it was whether you think that or not is true, it did happen. Okay. So
you were there.
So like,
and I'm riding on a unicorn right now.
That was there.
What?
Definitely.
Chann, can you let Coach cook on this? Coach did a whole video on this.
I'll let you guys go.
Let Coach cook on
it. You can come back when you charge your phone. Come back when you charge it up. All right. Cool.
Salute.
Chann, let Coach cook on this.
And wait. Lisa Bales is the undisputed body bag champion.
No, I'm just Lisa Haplo. You know it's love with you.
Sometimes you just gotta get bodied in life, Hap. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, Chad, could you let Coach cook on this? Because he did a whole
didn't
video on
happen
this
right
exact
now.
situation.
No, you didn't get bodied now. No, you didn't get bodied
now.
now.
Lisa bodied me. Lisa bodied me the other day.
Yeah, I know. I got to watch that.
By the way,
I will watch it.
Hap, before you go, damn, he's going. All right.
Yeah, you can still hear you though. Go ahead.
Oh, that's cold. He shouldn't be talking about anybody's mothers like that, man. How you said motherfucker earlier. That's not right.
Oh, yeah, well, no,
nobody's mom did him like that, man. That ain't right, man.
Yeah,
so we on Canelo shit now.
We on Canelo shit. No motherfucker allowed.
Hey, Chan, let Coach cook on this situation because he did a whole video on it that was excellent.
What's up, Coach? What's good with you, Coach?
Sammy, you're tripping in the comments. Like, you need to calm your little self down. You're bugging out now, so calm yourself down. Right now, go ahead, Mal.
Go ahead, Coach.
Well, what are you talking about? I just got back. I didn't hear anything.
The $50 million bullshit offer, Coach.
Yeah, but we are the realist, Sammy. But you can't be saying that AJ sniffs lines and that he's not a good character. Come on, Sammy. You better than that.
Yeah. The $50 million stuff. That's the stuff that Wilder said he offered, and the guy didn't even have proof of funds. So I mean, you said you got $50 million. You got 24 hours to sign the contract. Well, what's in the contract? Don't worry about it. Just sign it. And I called this bluff. It was some BS. It was some BS. You didn't even have a net worth of $50 million.
I mean, let me ask Joseph, is that even done?
And for people to say, well, Shelly Fickenham had it. Well, no, we don't know anything. We was on the outside looking in. We don't even know the logistics of what this guy is talking about. Never heard of a fighter saying, hey, I sent you a contract for $50 million. Not his handlers, the fighter says it. So come on, man. It's just a bunch of BS. I mean, if you team Wilder, you're going to believe everything Wilder says, and AJ is full of it. And that's just what it is. And if you team AJ, it's going to be the same thing. So there's not going to be any conclusion to this. Today I did a show and DJ showed up, and must love the DJ. Shout out to DJ, and he was talking about Ortiz being the boogeyman in the division. And
yeah,
he said
AJ gonna get to him. Oh Lord,
yeah. AJ and them ducked him. AJ and Dillian White ducked him. And then no, he was dead serious. And then when I said, okay, well, what about the $7 million that AJ offered him to fight in 2019 when Big Baby Miller got popped? That I didn't get no response. I just got King Kong ducked him in
cricket.
You gotta remember, Coach.
It was tumbleweed.
You gotta remember, Coach. He made $10 million to fight Wilder the second time. You forgot about that.
Oh man, he said the boogeyman. So I read the boogeyman.
Gracious.
Listen, they say he the boogeyman. Don't nobody want to fight him. I say so. So I looked up the boogeyman. It says the boogeyman is a type of mythical creature used by adults to frighten children into good behavior. So basically, what you're telling me is, they used this mythical creature called King Kong Ortiz to frighten Anthony Joshua and Dillian White and not to take the fight. And anyone else who was of higher caliber didn't want to fight him because they was afraid, so they deduct him. Boy, hush. This man's resume is hot doo-doo. I know it ain't no.
Who has he fought? Who has he beat? That's my only two questions. Who has he fought? Who has he beat? Nobody.
No, I can't. No, I disagree with that. He did beat somebody. He beat Alex Gonzalez. He beat Monte Barrett. He beat Latif Kayota. He beat Brian Poley. He beat Matias Arial. He beat Brian Jennings. He beat Tony Thompson.
Who the hell is that?
He beat Malik Scott.
Who the hell is that?
No, he beat David Allen. He beat Daniel Martis.
Who the hell is that?
Travis Kaufman.
Who the hell is that?
He beat Christian Hammer.
Where are they now?
Alex Flores.
What are they doing now?
That was a guy.
Ubers, or they're fucking working at Walmart.
Hold on. We're gonna put some respect on King Kong Ortiz's name. King Kong Ortiz has won 6 heavyweight titles. 6.
Where? In what world?
Okay. Here you go, Sheldon. He's won the WBC FE Car Box heavyweight title.
Who cares about that? What the fuck is that? Who cares about that?
He wants the vacant WBA Fidelity heavyweight title.
Oh my God.
That's 2. He won the listen, no, all jokes aside, he won the WBC Latino and WBO Latino heavyweight titles. That's 4. He won the WBA. He won the WBA interim heavyweight title. That's 5. And And guess what? He won the WBA Intercontinental Heavyweight title back in 2016. So he had 6 belts, heavyweight titles at one time.
Didn't Foreman hold those titles too?
That's hilarious. That's the boogeyman. That's the boogeyman.
Guys, in all seriousness, guys.
Was a good fighter, though. I actually do think this was a good fighter.
Ortiz Ortiz in his prime was an excellent fighter. Look, guys.
Yeah.
You look. It's pointless to bring up resumes when you're considered to be more. No. When you're considered to be more risk than reward within your division. Look, it's if you're an avoided fighter, you cannot fault the man for having holes in his resume, and that's and this is just a sad part of the business of boxing. It's look at a guy like Gennady Golovkin for years. No one wanted to fight that guy.
Yeah, okay.
Also, look at Terrence Crawford at welterweight.
Yep. Okay, but
that's true.
Look at Demetrius Andrade at 160.
Yeah, but
you cannot fault a man.
Yeah, but he's a free division world champ.
I'm not faulting him. I'm giving him props. I'm saying
no. I understand. I'm just saying.
He won 6 heavyweight titles, right?
Oh goodness!
and so this, hey man, I'm not hating on him. This is what I'm saying, right? You say that what else you said? You said you can't fault him for
having holes. You can't fault a fighter who's considered to be more risk than reward within his division for having holes in his resume. It's part of the business of boxing.
Yeah, so the point is, like what Fisher said, he's not the boogeyman. He's not avoided. He got offered $7 million by Joshua, turned that down. Dillian White offered him $5 million. He turned that down. Now moving on to, when they were trying to find for who Ergovich was going to fight, he turned that down. He then turned down the Joe Joyce offer, and then he's now also turned down the Otto Wallin, and that's why Otto Wallin in the end said it was a good thing because I get to fight for an interim title with Dillian White. He's turned down everybody. So
Lady Chann, you said it. If I was 65, I wouldn't want to fight nobody either. So
exactly. So retire. Why are you ranked? Why are you ranked top 10 in the WBA? Why?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I got a good question. I think the brother right here, Joe, that's Joe, right?
How you doing, Coach?
Joe, you said that Ortiz in his prime, it's not his fault when he was in his prime, didn't nobody want to fight him or something like that.
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Can you tell me at what point in time was Ortiz in his prime?
When he was in America. Yes.
Yeah, when he was in America.
No. I'm saying when he fought Malik Scott, was he in his prime then?
Of course. Yeah, when he was handled by Golden Boy Promotions, that's when he was in his prime, and no one wanted to fight him. Absolutely no one wanted to fight him.
When was his prime? In 1962. His prime was
Go ahead, Joe. Because I want to say something to the point. Go ahead, Joe.
Because this is a gentleman who had a huge amateur background, so you could move him along very quickly. He was the exact opposite of Deontay Wilder. So as soon as Golden Boy signed him, they were off to the races with Luis Ortiz. They wanted him paired up against everyone that they possibly could, and no one wanted any part of King Kong Ortiz. No one.
Here's my problem.
And I know this for a fact. I was doing PR work for Golden Boy at the time.
Right. But here's my problem with the point. Here's my only problem with the point. You can't be considered the boogeyman of the division until you've at least beat one guy in the top 10. You haven't beat anybody. You haven't fought anybody.
Well, and
so how are you the boogeyman when you haven't beat anybody?
And once again, I'll go to my point. You cannot fault a guy who's considered by most to be more risk than reward for having holes in his resume and for not having fought anyone because no one wants to step in the ring with you.
Don't that say something more about the fighters than him? The fighters are because he's
because look, guys, you're talking about it, you're thinking about it from a fan's perspective, and that's not the case within the business of boxing. Right. None of these guys fear any man in the ring. This is what they do. All of these brave young men are willing to step in the ring with Godzilla if the money is right. If it means making life-changing money, it's their management.
Yeah, so how is he turning down fights? So how is he the boogeyman and he's turning down fights?
I don't know that he is turning down fights.
He is turning down fights.
Now,
he just turned down the Wally fight. He just turned down the Wally fight.
And the source is IFL. Go and look at IFL with Joe Joyce. Go and look at Seconds Out.
Now, once again, this is something
and
that
social with Otto Weilin. Go and check Eddie Hearn talking about it's all on the TV. It's all on YouTube.
So who's saying this though?
So Eddie Hearn had to go down the list for who was going to fight Philip Ergovich. Andy Ruiz turned it down. Ortiz turned it down. He turned that down, and there was a few people that turned that down. I think it's the IBF route. Turned that down. 8 people turned that down. 8 fighters turned that down.
Yeah. You know what? I understand that. Right now, Philippe Ergovich, right now is in the same position right now that Luis Ortiz was almost a decade ago. He's in the same situation. He's considered by pretty much everyone in the division because, one, he doesn't have a big fan base. He's not a big ticket seller. He's not a huge ratings draw. What are you going to get out of fighting this guy? Absolutely nothing. And he has the ability to possibly beat anyone on any given day. So once again, I can understand everyone turning this guy down. He's
but they're not turning him down. These recent ones, even going back as from Joshua. Joshua offered him $7 million. He turned that down, and he said he wanted to fight. He was the WBA Mando for Joshua, but the IBF said you have to do in the order where you collected your belt. So the IBF said you have to defend your IBF title first.
Why is Joshua coming up in this argument?
Yeah, because this is what I'm saying about the ducking. No.
Look, ducking doesn't exist within the business of boxing. That's a fan-driven concept, and I can't stand when boxing scribes use the term ducking because it doesn't exist. There is such thing as more risk than reward, but these guys are fearless. These guys are fearless. There is no such thing as ducking.
There is.
No, that's a fan-driven concept.
If someone offers you $7 million and you don't take it, but then you fight Deontay Wilder for $500,000, what's gone wrong here? You didn't want to fight Joshua. You could have just lost for $7 million. Hang on. Then we move on to Dillian White. $5 million. You turned that down. Is Dillian White the scared one? He's offered you $5 million. You've turned that down. You just did a $500,000 fucking fight. So you've turned that down. And then now we've moved to Ergovich, whether it's high risk, low reward, whether it's low reward, high risk, whatever way you want to flip it, he turned that down. Then Joe Joyce hit him up. He turned that down. So who's the boogeyman? He's not. Then Otto Weilin just came out 2 days ago, saying we was negotiating, and then all of a sudden he just pulled out of the deal and said he didn't want to fight me. So I went on and we got the Dillian White deal instead. So how is he the boogeyman? How is
I'm not saying he's the boogeyman right now. I'm saying he was 10 years ago.
I'm saying he never was. I'm saying he never was.
Well, no, I know for a fact he was back then.
People were trying to fight him.
But could I say this?
Go ahead.
As far as when he was offered that money, when Jarrell Baby Miller popped, Big Baby, he was offered that fight, and apparently his management turned it down. They were on Boxing Voice, so he didn't know about it. He was pissed off about it.
Mm-hmm. And then he said, "Oh, I'll fight AJ." He kept coming back. I'll spar AJ. And then he was like, "Oh, I'll fight AJ." AJ's like, "You missed the ship sailed here. We don't need it. We offered you in a deal for $7 million. You turned it down. There's no reason that we need to even spar you. B, that you have anything now for us. It's silly. Everybody has offered him up until last week. 2 fighters have offered him, and they've come out on record to say it. So why is he turning down these offers to fight? So why is he still ranked in top 10 in the WBA? Because the WBA are in men with PBC, and they pay for payola to have their little fighters ranked. There's no reason for him to be ranked.
I can answer that. I can answer. The WBA, they manipulate their own rank standings.
Yeah, the WBA is corrupt.
Hey, you guys, thank you for having me. I got to get ready for work, but I love chopping up boxing with y'all, man. I miss you guys, and I'll see you as soon as I can.
Yeah, we'll be here again,
All right,
King.
love you, bro.
God bless you, brother.
Too, sis. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
But can I pose a question? Can I pose a question to Joe right quick? Or hey, Joe, I'm sure you heard about this, but you know about Teofimo turning down the Loma rematch, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Could you hear me?
No. Go and repeat that, please, sir.
Oh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, sir. Yes.
Okay, I was saying, so like, you know how Teofimo, he recently did an interview and said that he's not going to fight Loma for a second time?
Yeah, I know that.
Is that him not ducking that fight?
No, because he already beat the guy. I mean, look, in his opinion, right, and from a business perspective, and I don't agree with it, but his handlers have really treated his career over the last year horrendously. In my opinion, a rematch with Vasily Lomachenko makes more money than anything else right now at 35 or 40 for him. But in his mind, and once again, a lot of this has to do with his management, David McWaters, who is making terrible decisions for him currently.
He needs to get rid of that guy.
In his mind, right? In his mind, a fight opposite Josh Taylor after this bullshit mandatory finally happens. That's what they're going for. They want to be undisputed in 2 different weight classes at the same time. But in my opinion, the bigger money fight in America is a rematch with Vasily Lomachenko. That's actually a pay-per-view fight on ESPN pay-per-view. But once again, guys, you have to understand, Teofimo Lopez, all these guys are fearless, but their management and their promoters, their advisors are who broker these deals. It's a matter, and once again, there's so much that goes into this. Network alliances, joint TV ventures. I mean, there's so much that goes into making these fights materialize. But if the fighters had their druthers, they'd step in the ring with Godzilla if it meant making life-changing money. That's why you'll never hear me write or speak of ducking, because from firsthand knowledge, all of these guys are fearless. That's why they do what they do.
Yeah, we're not saying they duck because they're like shit scared, but there's some people are still tentative. They don't want to be beaten by a specific fighter. They just don't want to take certain fights. That's just it. Not saying that.
Now, once again, it's a product of their management, though, guys. It's a product of their management and their handlers. Look, all of these guys are absolutely fearless, and if you ask them, they truly believe that they can beat anyone's ass within the division. All of these guys are brimming with confidence, and they have to be in order to have this kind of success at the elite level in boxing. It's their management, it's their handlers, it's their promotional ties. A lot of all of that has nothing to do with the fighter. But I will say this. If a fighter goes out of his way and tells his handlers, look, I want this fight, I need this fight, you'd better go out and get it for me or there's going to be problems, just like Sean Porter did. That's how he got this fight. He petitioned the WBO. They stepped in and mandated this fight, and now he's going to be facing Terrence Crawford.
Oh, he petitioned?
Yes.
Petition.
He never said that. He never said he petitioned. He said he was surprised that they mandated. He was
surprised that they mandated, but yes, he'd been lobbying for this fight for months.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't, Joseph.
Okay, well, there was an interview that just was released today, right? Okay. And it's Sean Porter saying, look, no one wanted this fight more than I did. I respected the decision or the wishes of Terrence Crawford months past that, hey, he's trying to make the fight with Manny Pacquiao, but when that fell through, I really wanted to fight. Huh?
So why didn't he take the fight before it was mandated? And when Bob Arum offered him 1.5, he said that's too low. Okay, cool.
That's the only reason why he felt it wasn't. You
got 2 million. Then Bob offered him 2 million. 2.5.
That's right, and he still thought that was early. He's a product of receiving an inflated purse because of all those years of working with Al Heyman. And once again,
you got offered what you thought. Errol Spence, you don't got a belt. You don't have a belt. So if we're offering you 2 milli, 2.5, that's what you got 2 milli to fight Errol Spence. Why are you turning this down? Now all of a sudden, oh, it was the fight that I always wanted. Yeah, because you're getting 4 million now. You didn't you didn't strive hard for this.
Whether Lady Chann, whether you realize this or not, what's reported to the state athletic commissions is not what they actually earn. And all PBC fighters, when you're at the level of Sean Porter and you've been in this tired old round robin and been on network TV, and he's grown accustomed to making between 3 and 4 million in every fight. Now, what's reported, though, to the Nevada State Athletic Commission or the California State Athletic Commission, that's completely different. And one of the reasons why they always report lower to the State Athletic Commissions, twofold. One, tax purposes. Two, also, that's what the sanctioning organizations go by. The last thing you want if you're a fighter or a manager is to have to give 3% of your actual purse to these sanctioning organizations. So these guys make always a lot more than what they report to the state athletic commissions. So even though it was reported that he only made $1 million to fight Formella, or he only made $2 million to fight Errol Spence, the reality is he made for Errol Spence fight cleared $4 million easily.
Yeah, on the back end. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the fight is still dark. They do. I don't know. I don't care if it's because of their management. I don't care if it's because of their handlers. I don't care if it's because of their promotion team. I don't care if it's their PR team. They dark. Fighters dark.
But Joe, could I ask you another question? Can I clarify something else with Joe?
Jay, I love you, but they dark. They dark. Whatever reason it is for, there's reasons, but the outcome is still a dark. They're not getting the fight. Sean Porter could have fought Crawford ages ago. He could have fought him ages ago. And because he thought he was too good for 2 million and 2.5. I don't know why, because you don't got a belt, but you thought you was better than that.
He had grown accustomed to making those inflated purses, sister.
Yeah, but yeah, he would have still got back end money on PPV. He would have still got a trickle of $1 million or 2 after that. If you really want to test your skills and you really want to box one of the greatest at the minute at free division world champ, why didn't you take the 2?
Well, that's good theoretically. I mean, that makes sense theoretically. It absolutely does. And in my opinion, you're right on the mark. All of these fighters should be more reasonable with their pre-fight guarantees and take more on the back end. Okay, that just makes sense from a business perspective. But you try telling a fighter, Lady Chann, you try telling a fighter who's grown accustomed to making between 4 and 5 million per fight to take a pay cut. You try telling him that. It doesn't work that way within the business, sister. Fighters are never going to, especially when you're taking on one of the most dangerous assignments of your professional career.
Yeah, to take the 2.5 million, like what we're going to go right back to the Floyd Mayweather theory of when Floyd Mayweather had to swallow his pride and take 30% and be the B-side, whooped Oscar De La Hoya's ass, and then said, "Look, now I'm worth what you said I wasn't." If it was really about the fighting and not about the ducking, and there wasn't some fear, then he would have took the 2.5 and took $1 million or 2 on the back end and fought Terence Crawford and whooped his ass if you thought you could whoop his ass, and that would have been it. But the sheer fact that they don't do that, it's titled Joseph as a dark.
It doesn't work like that in the business system, but that's fine.
Can I add something right quick?
Whatever it works like, what I'm saying is there's always different situations. Like there may be a situation where I can't meet you over the road at the shop. There may be 5 different situations where 5 different people can't meet you at the superstore opposite the house. One person may have to go and get a call. They have to pick up their kid. One person gets run over, but they're all right. They dust themselves off and decide, no, I can't be bothered to go across the road. One person just says, I'm not going because I just don't want to. The other person, but if they still didn't make it to you, when they could have. So in terms of boxing, whether you like the term or not, it's a dark.
No, it's not, sister. And I'll explain why. And once again, the Sean Porter situation, right? There's Sean Porter situation and any fighter. If you've already grown accustomed to making between $3 and $4 million for much easier fights than Terrence Crawford. There's no incentive to sign on the dotted line and make less money to fight a more dangerous assignment. And that's part of the problem when you overpay fighters, like Heyman religiously has over the past half decade. Look, and this is a problem, and Don Chargan taught me this a long time ago. When you overpay fighters, it makes it virtually impossible to put together the best fights possible.
But he wasn't
these guys. All of those elite fighters were dramatically overpaid.
Porter was offered 0.5 more than what he got for Errol Spence, and he didn't.
No, once again, you're going by the State Athletic Commission
financials. We're going by Bob. We're going by Bob. I saw Bob do this offer. Bob came on record and said this, and then Sean Porter corroborated with it because I watched the Porter Way podcast, and he was talking about, I ain't taking 1.5. That's a low ball, which I agree.
That's it.
Then he, when he got the 2.3, he confirmed that, and he said that's still not enough money. So what do you want to do, Porter? If you really want to make the fight, you wouldn't have made it go all the way to purse bids. Now it's a fight that I always wanted to do. No, it wasn't. It was a fight that you always wanted to do at a specific price. Just say that you wanted more than what you really was worth. Cool. Here's your $4 million.
Of course, and that's the problem.
Because after this, when your ass gets beat and you still don't got a belt, you are going to fall back into oblivion. You may as well stay on your podcast, do your commentaries in your ugly suits, and just keep it a buck.
And that's the problem.
Can I add something? Can I add something real quick? Just real quick.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Joe, tell me that. I think this is why the Mikey Garcia Regis Prograis fight fell apart because
that too.
Because Joseph, you said because he said he was paid. Mikey Garcia was paid $7 million to fight Vargas.
That's right.
And real quick. But also and Prograis is a very risky fight for anybody at 140. So Mikey Garcia probably wants to be paid to wazoo for that fight, and his own can't cover it.
Exactly, and that's the problem.
So I think that's why that fight fell apart and it didn't happen because Mikey Garcia probably wanted all this money. Mikey Garcia wanted all this money.
That's why most of the elite level matches have fallen apart as of late, because these guys have been severely overpaid. Well, the gravy train's over. Like the era of inflated purses are long gone, but now you've got a big problem. All of these guys, after being overpaid, they expect that same paycheck. So when you ask them, and you ask their management, hey, well, we want you to do this assignment. This fight is on the table, but you're only going to be guaranteed $2 million. They're going to take a hard pass. Let me see. So I made more money for an easier fight 3 years ago, but you want me to actually take less money for a more dangerous assignment.
Yeah, you had a belt.
Fighters and their management teams are going to pass on that.
Okay, so who do you actually fight then? If you pass on, just say Sean Porter passed on this fight. Who was he going to fight? Who was he going to fight? And he was going to get 4-5 million after Bud. Well, after he says no, I'm not fighting Bud. Who's left for him? That gets him that money.
Obviously, 4 or 5 million was enough to make the deal. Now, wasn't it? But the sticking point in the past was 2 million. Okay, when all is said and done, he probably made more than that for fighting Seabass Formella.
Okay,
that's the problem. That's the biggest problem, guys.
So who would he have fought if he wasn't getting the 4 million and then he was only allowed to get, who was going to command a fight that would make Sean Porter still in the rest of that 147 division? Because remember, he's fought all the top elites that could give him that paycheck. Who was left that was even going to be able to command him a $2 million paycheck with no belt? That's not an elite. That's not elite in 147.
I guarantee you this. And that was part of the problem. Like if you look and see, Keith Thurman's been on the shelf. Danny Garcia's been on the shelf this year. Sean Porter's been on the shelf this year. And that's the problem with overpaying your fighters. Right. And that was the problem with Al Heyman's situation.
So these fighters don't really.
They can't come up with the money.
They don't really want to fight because when your management works for you, you do not work for them. So if you really want to fight, you say, you know what? I'm going to take 2.5 because I'm a boxer and I really want to fight. If they don't really want to fight, this is my whole point.
I agree.
Matter of fact. Okay, let me
become complacent and they don't want to fight. After you've grown accustomed to making 3 or 4 million for softer touches. Oh, I'm in agreement. They don't want to take on these dangerous assignments for less money.
And then the money that they're worth.
And that's the biggest problem in boxing. Yeah. Because the money's not there right now with piracy.
So how is their income being added to after you keep religiously turning down fights? So that money that you've got in your bank, or if you haven't invested it, you want 4 million every time you get a fight. But these things are not happening. So what happens? Does your money not dwindle and because you're not re-upping? So what are you doing? What are you doing?
No, you know what, Shan, you make a valid point. If the management team, I hear what Joe is saying. He's saying the management team is the reason why a lot of these fights don't get made. None of these fighters are ducking. Mm-hmm. The only counter to that is this, and I know Joe, you more on the inside. I'm on the outside, but let me break it down like this. Shan just hit the nail right on the head. If your financial advisor Al Heyman works for you, if your management team works for you, then how are they telling you turn down this fight, don't take this fight, this is not going to get made? Why are they in the way of stopping you from getting fights when you are the one that's in control? You don't work for them, they work for you. You tell the management team, you tell Al Heyman, hey, look here, baby boy, check this out. I want this fight. You make this fight happen. All of this stuff about you're going to turn down fights for me. I don't work for you. You work for me. So when you allow your management team, who's supposed to work for you, prevent you from getting fights, that's ducking. That's ducking behind the management team. Now I get it. That's not the business term. I understand you work on the inside. You know more. I understand all of that.
Well, Coach, let me get this. And I understand. And that's conventional wisdom, right? But let me give you an example of where this goes wrong for fighters who don't follow the lead or follow the advice of their management or promoter. Right? Look at Mikey Garcia several years ago when he was at Top Rank. HBO and Top Rank really wanted to see Mikey Garcia versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. Mikey Garcia said, this is not enough money. I'm the champion. I should be making the A-side money here. Why is Yuriorkis Gamboa making more money than I am? And HBO at the time, Ken Hirschman was the president of HBO Sports. And he said, look, Yuriorkis Gamboa is by far the bigger ratings draw. So he deserves the lion's share of the purse. And Mikey didn't want to hear any part of that. And because he was so difficult and said, look, you're my promoter. You're going to work on my behalf. And if you don't, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in this fight. So what happened? Bob Arum and Top Rank put him on ice for the next 3 years. They said, fine, okay, well, you're the boss. Guess what? We're not going to get you any more fights. The same thing happened with Caleb Plant and Al Heyman. When Caleb Plant said, look, I want to go fight this fight, they said, okay, well, go ahead. You can fight this fight on DAZN, but if you lose, and when you come back, good luck getting any fights from us without the title. You're going to be put on the shelf for the remainder of your contract with us.
They control the fighter then. They control the fighter, which is the wrong way round.
So that's the PBC.
These fighters, how do they make money? How did they make money if they're shelving fighters? How do they make money then? I don't understand. What, we're waiting for that one big purse, and then after that, we can't get any more 4 million fights.
Well, I'll tell you how.
Fight again,
I'll tell you how. Because Al Heyman has a roster of over 100 fighters, and he makes he makes 10% off of all of them because he's an advisor when they fight.
3/4 of them are inactive. Three quarters of them are not even fighting. 3/4.
You're right about that. Absolutely.
Heard of them. 3/4 of them do not even command $1 million fights.
That's right.
Matter of fact, this is funny. This is funny because I remember. Matter of fact, this is funny because I remember how this makes sense what Joseph is saying because Joseph, what you're pretty much trying to say, and I pretty much knew this already, is how fighters they're used to they don't want to fight because they get used because when you overpay them, they're used to getting paid a certain amount. Then when they don't get anywhere close to that, they don't want to fight. And this kind of makes sense because Keith Thurman was banging on last year about wanting $10 million for a Terrence Crawford fight, and which everybody I thought was hilarious because I knew Top Rank wasn't going to give him that, and he was just insane to ask something like that. But it makes sense because I remember Terrence Crawford, he actually put out a tweet saying how he actually wanted the Thurman fight. He told his people, send the Brook offer to Thurman before the Brook fight happened. And they told him, oh, the fight's not going to happen. And when he asked why, he said he wants $10 million.
Yep.
And
I was told by Bruce Trembler that really happened. That they sent over a fax demanding $10 million.
Yeah, but just also I just want to just clarify something you said earlier. You said that T.O. is undisputed at 135, right? Or you said he wants to be undisputed in 2 weights. He's not undisputed. He's not undisputed at 135. So
Of course, and yeah, everyone knows that. But in his mind, he beat the man who beat the man. He's the lineal champion and the ring champion. So in his mind, he's undisputed. And you're never going to be able to convince him otherwise.
I'll tell him to his face. I'm not afraid of him. So. I swear to God, I'm telling him. Like, I like you, bro, but you're not undisputed. You got to fight Devin Haney first. You got to beat Devin for that. So,
then you are truly undisputed. Or Mauricio Suleiman has to readdress how he's did all of this and then change it. And then maybe T.O. would be undisputed. Take that email belt away from Devin and do some title eliminators to get. Well, you can't even put another belt. You're just going to have to get T.O. to fight for the WBC belt with Haney. That's it. That's the only way he's really, truly undisputed, for real.
Well, he's not about to do that, unfortunately.
And he's not doing it. So this is what I'm saying. So if fighters are just waiting on just having one big pass and then they turn down everything else afterwards, they're going to be a mess in 10 years.
Yep. That's the problem with boxing currently. That's a huge problem, Lady Chann. I'm sorry, AJ, go ahead, sir.
I know, sorry, I know, my bad. I was just saying that, like, what you just described what the PBC does.
Yep.
Like that's pretty much slave contracts, in my opinion. That's slavery. It's like, all right, if you lose, fine, you're not going to fight for 2 years.
And I know this happens, and once again, every promoter's guilty of it. Once again, Vanyas Martirosyan, he had this problem with Al Heyman. He came out publicly and badmouthed Al Heyman. Said,
I remember that. Yeah,
I'm not getting the fight. And so guess what? He put his ass on ice for the remainder of his contract, and he hasn't fought since.
Then he signed with Don King. Then after Don King screwed him over.
Yeah, but Don King is out of the business now. Basically on impulse power, right?
Yeah. He does,
but Vanyas, he basically, Al Heyman pretty much ruined his career.
Oh.
Yep.
So basically, what you're saying is these fighters work for the management team. The management team don't work for the fighters.
Well, they're the ones who have all the TV dates. They're the ones who have your contract. They can sit your ass on the shelf as long as they want for the remainder of your contract, if that's what they choose to do. And because they have 80 to 100 fighters within their roster, if you're not a huge ticket seller, which Mikey Garcia wasn't at the time, and which Vanyas Martirosyan has never been. If you're not a huge ticket seller, they have no problem sitting your ass on the shelf if you open your mouth and creating too many problems for them. They have no problem doing it. I've seen it happen a million times.
So if you're a big ticket seller, this is what I'm saying, the big ticket sellers are still not taking the fights.
That's the and that's once again a problem of these inflated purses and these unreasonable pre-fight guarantees. There's no reason why Teofimo Lopez should have been demanding $5 million from Top Rank to fight George Kambosos. And once again, that's a product of his manager, David McWaters, putting bullshit in his head that he deserves it, even though he's never sold one ticket as a headliner.
He's never even been on pay-per-view before.
Never. Exactly. He's never been an A-side headliner in his life. I mean, he's always been on the undercard of fighters like Terrence Crawford or Vasyl Lomachenko. He's never been an A-side headliner. He's never sold one ticket as a headliner ever. This guy's going to be demanding $5 million. Now, once again, these guys are fearless, but he's getting bad advice.
Yeah, but Keith Thurman's demanding $10 million. Fucking Sean Porter's demanding $4 million.
And it's unreasonable. That's it. It's unreasonable, guys, because they've been severely overpaid.
I mean, like Teofimo won his first world title on an undercard.
Yep.
Yeah. Wasn't even the main.
He wasn't a headliner. He wasn't a headliner. He wasn't a headliner of the main event for that.
And so, guys, that's the biggest problem. But once again, that's the business of boxing. And that's why I always state, guys, ducking is a fan-driven concept that doesn't exist within the business. It doesn't. These guys individually, if you talk to them, they're fearless. They're absolutely fearless. But their management and their promoters always get in the way.
there's nothing that got in the way that Deontay Wilder to try and be just as a example to be unified. It's nothing to do with his management. He didn't want to do it.
Well, can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
These fighters are not team players. It's not like they're on the NBA, NFL, or Premier League or whatever. What I'm saying is that they're independent contractors.
Yep.
So they should be their own bosses. So it's like they're, you know, athletes. I hate to say it. I'm just gonna say it. They're chattel.
They're what?
You mean cattle? You mean cattle? You mean cattle?
Chattel.
Cattle.
Property. Oh. Property.
Yeah.
Chattel.
Well,
cattle.
Look,
chattel.
Until you get at the level of Canelo Alvarez and can call the shots, and you're the biggest ticket seller in boxing, you're the biggest attraction in boxing, at that point you don't need a promoter to get you TV dates or matchups. Until you get to that point, you're absolutely right, Lisa Bales.
And
you're completely dependent on management, promoter, and network.
And that still doesn't work. Canelo still struggled to even get this fight over the hurdle. Like it's still a struggle, because when he did first pose to Caleb Plant to fight him months ago, or even last year.
This is the fourth time.
He turned it down. So if that's not a duck, then I don't know what a duck is.
This was the fourth attempt to get the fight made.
It quacks like a duck. Unfortunately, desafortunadamente, it's a duck. It's a duck. So, like, you may not like the term, Joe, and I get where you're coming from, Jay, but sometimes you have to update. You know, you have to update the software. Like, there's ducks. There's reasons for them, whatever the reasons are. But what I'm saying is the term it's here to stay at the minute. It's a duck. And loads of fighters are ducking. I don't know if it's because they don't want to lose their they don't want to lose that to that specific fighter, because it then makes them look devalued, or there's all different reasons. But if a fighter wants to fight, they tell the management team, make this fight.
That's right. And I've already given you an example where that's blown up in their face when they do.
Yeah, well then
the PBC, right?
I'm talking about it happens with every promoter. I mean, look what happened with Mikey Garcia in Top Rank.
Yeah.
He was put on ice for years.
Yeah, didn't he sue to get out of his contract? He did, right?
Yeah, he had to actually pay to get out of his contract. Al Heyman actually fronted him the money to get out of his contract, and that's when he started fighting for PBC.
Wow.
And once again, guys, this happens all the time. But that's what happens when you try to stand up your promoter and say, hey, I'm a badass, and then you're not a big ticket seller or a big ratings draw. You've got no leverage. The only time you've got leverage to be able to stand up your promoter is when you are a big ratings draw or a big ticket seller like Manny Pacquiao, like Floyd Mayweather, like Canelo Alvarez, like Oscar De La Hoya. That's when you actually have the clout and the position where you can say, you know what, I don't need you guys anymore to get TV dates. F you, I want out of my contract. That's the only time it works out for a fighter.
But even the biggest star needs a TV date to be seen.
Yeah, but once again, when you're at that level, of course, but once again, when you're at that level, you don't need a promoter to get a TV date. Every network is interested in showcasing your fight. You don't need a promoter then. You can be your own promotional group. That's what happened with Golden Boy Promotions and Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
But until you get to that,
he didn't have a promoter. He had a manager.
Yeah. Until you get to that level, you have to play ball with your management and your promoter. You have to, because it won't work out for you any other way. So once again, I know you guys, and once again, it's just a product of what everyone says. Everyone throws around the term ducking, but look, ducking does not exist within the business of boxing. There is such a thing as risk versus reward, and that's what every manager and promoter takes into consideration.
So that's a duck.
Not necessarily, because for the right amount of money or the right circumstance, Any fighter will step in the ring with any fighter. These guys are
Ortiz so why didn't Ortiz step in the ring for 7 million? Why didn't Ortiz step in the ring for 5 million? It's the biggest payday he's ever would have ever seen in his career today.
Is that when he tested positive and got popped?
No, but he got offered 7 million. It doesn't matter if he got tested, but he didn't.
Oh no, it does matter if you tested positive because then you're suspended and you can't make the fight happen.
No. He obviously, when they posed the deal to him, he was able to fight.
Lady Chann, I could actually answer that if you want to hear. I know the backstory behind that. Okay, what happened?
Turned it down.
Yeah, his management screwed him over. That's what happened with that.
Okay, because I have no idea why that would happen. That makes absolutely no sense. And once again, it's a product of bad management then. But once again, these fighters, you can't fault them. They are absolutely fearless.
So who do they want Luis Ortiz to fight then? To be
I have no idea who even handles Luis Ortiz. I know
who.
Jameson. It begins with J. It's double J.
PBC fight.
I have no idea who's even handling Luis Ortiz at this point.
I just said it. His manager's it's Jay something. I
can say this. I can tell you guys. I can say this. When he was with Al Heyman and they were under the promotional banner of Golden Boy Promotions, yeah, he was managed and brought along extremely well. Like he was fighting everybody, and it wasn't until. Yeah, PBC started their own thing. That's when I started to see the wheels come off with Luis Ortiz and his management. And after that, he pretty much fell off the map outside of those 2 fights with Deontay Wilder.
So who is he to? So my point is, if it's not a duck, if he's declining, like he's not even declining bums. You're declining people that still have a name or making their way in the ranks, i.e. Joe Joyce coming off a couple wins and stuff. Why would you turn down a Joe Joyce fight? Like, who else are you fighting?
I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, it's bad management. Okay,
how many times is it bad management? Because there's been look, guys, check out, guys. You guys follow me. You see my reports. You see me do 2 Luis Ortiz. This is why this show is named this. You see me do 2 Luis Ortiz ducking or declining fights. In 1 week, you see me do. I've never did that with any fighter in 1 week. How is that bad man? Like, how long can we use the term bad management if he's declined? Going from AJ, he's declined near enough every top fight that and decides to fight Flores, who then takes a dive in the first round, and his purse is withheld. So
now wait a minute. When you're talking about all these offers, was he still with Eddie Hearn, or are you talking about when he was with Al Heyman?
I'm talking about this week.
Okay, well, this week, yeah. That's not going to happen because once again, if Luis Ortiz is signed with Al Heyman, Al Heyman's not going to allow him and is not interested in putting him on a rival network.
I don't know if
once again, you're not taking that into consideration.
No,
so let's go to coaches. Let's go to coach's response here. I want to read this.
Well, he's on the panel, so Mal, why don't you just say it?
Yeah. Well, this is interesting. He says, so basically these fighters have to do what their managers, advisors, and promoters tell them what to do. When Wilder was offered a 3-fight, $120 million offer from DAZN, his management decided to turn it down. And once again, you hit the nail right on the head, brother. And what you're never going to see an Al Heyman fighter go against what Al Heyman wants to do. Like Errol Spence, Sean Porter, you can ask every single one of them, and here's why. And they all have the same response. They said, look, this is a guy who cares about my future in boxing, not just while I'm producing for him, but he's actually investing our money, setting up IRA accounts for us, so we never have to work another day in our life after we retire.
That's not fact. That's not fact.
That is fact. That is a fact.
No, it's not a fact with 150 fighters. It's not fact.
No. What I'm
everybody
saying,
on that roster hasn't got a retirement fund via Al Heyman, because Al Heyman, out of the goodness of his heart, did that. He's answered. You've got AB asking Al Heyman, just give me my fucking money.
Yeah. His money is tied up. And once again, this is not just Al Heyman that does this.
Your money's tied up with Al Heyman, but yet you can't do the fights that you want to do. But your money, so you're not making any money because Al Heyman's not allowing you to do the fights. But the fights that he has allowed you to do, he withholds and keeps a bit of your money because he cares about you so much that he's got 150 on the roster that he's going to put for a retirement fund. Bullshit.
Bullshit from what? He doesn't have your money tied up in an IRA account?
I
already know this to be a truth because I've spoken with this to Errol Spence. I've spoken to several fighters.
That might be a limited few. There's always exceptions to a rule, but I don't care.
No, this is actually a common practice. A lot of managers.
No.
How are you saying no? I know this to be a fact.
No. What I know about Al Heyman, he has 6 white guys.
No. This is a common practice.
He has 6 white guys that invest in his company, and he has to make a return. He's broke right now. He's not making those 6 guys that invested in him any money. So the money that he is making, it's actually turns into, allegedly, it is money laundering. He's withholding funds, and he's not giving fighters what they're really. He's pitching fighters out for, like Tank Davidson. You're going to fight for 1 million. You'll get money on the back end. He's lowballing them to make his overheads lower, and the profit that he makes, he is not putting that in a little retirement fund for them. Maybe Errol Spencer's got it like that.
Lady Chann,
it's not like that for all of them.
This is a common business practice, and I'll give you an example. I'm very good friends with Jesse James Leha. He's from San Antonio as well. And I remember asking him when I was working for him doing PR work for Leha Bata Promotions in San Antonio. I was like, dude, why are you working this hard, man? Setting up your gym, doing promotions. And he goes, I'm like, dude, why aren't you just sitting fat off the millions of dollars that you made, man, when you were prize fighting? He goes, well, because I can't touch this money until I'm 50. Lester Bedford, my manager, he's got it tied up in an IRA account. I can't touch the great majority of my money until I'm 50. And once again, this is all done to try and save these fighters from themselves, because it was a huge problem in boxing in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s of these guys squandering their millions and going broke. So to keep that from happening, most good, reputable management teams will do this and invest a fighter's money and keep it from them in an IRA account so they don't go broke when they're 50.
And what does Al get out of that? He's just done that as an altruistic move. He just did that for the pure goodness out of his heart.
No, it's not. It's not the goodness of his heart. It's become a common practice in boxing. So these guys don't go broke by the age of 35 or 40.
So why do I already know current boxers that are already broke and they're not even 40 yet? They're already broke. Like Dave Allen, he's broke. He's broke. Luis Ortiz, he hasn't got no money. He broke. Who else comes in and out of retirement? David Haye clearly doesn't have that. He broke. Let's move to American fighters. Oscar De La Hoya, who did that for him? He broke. That's why he's coming back.
Oscar De La Hoya's not broke.
He broke. Trust me, he broke. He sniffed all that coke. He broke.
Okay, so now you're assuming.
He said his addiction got the better of him, and that is why.
That's right. But look, he still owns so much property. Okay. He still owns so many different businesses. He's not going to go broke in this lifetime. It's impossible.
I doubt if I.
So once again, you're assuming too much, Lady Chann. With all due respect, sister, you're assuming way too much, sister.
No, because I go by what he said, and he said his addiction it ran him into nearly bankruptcy. So
that's right.
You broke. That means if you're nearly bankrupt, just because you've got certain assets that they will get seized, you broke.
Bankrupt to you and I, Lady Chann, is very different from a guy like
Oscar De La
Hoya filing bankruptcy. Right?
They could be bankrupt and have 10 million.
Thing, sister.
Yeah, they could be bankrupt and have 10 million. You're still broke. You're coming back.
I know this for a fact. Oscar De La Hoya will never go broke in this lifetime. Ever.
A lot of them are broke. Tyson Fury came back because he was broke. There was no set up fund for none of these people. There's a charity. That's why I wish Troy stayed on the panel. That they're helping fighters, because majority of them, when they retire, they broke.
That's right. The older ones especially have really big problems. Like I said, this was a huge problem. This is one of the reasons why it was such a big deal in the early 80s, going through Congress in America to put forth the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act. That was such a huge deal because this was such a huge problem in the sport of boxing.
And Al Heyman is still doing it, but he's just found a loophole and decided to be called an advisor. But it's still, if he was a manager, he couldn't do that because it is under the Muhammad Ali Act. He is still doing and taking money, double-handers, because he's found the loophole just of a different title. He calls himself an advisor. An advisor is somebody that is somebody that works for you. So how comes Al Heyman, the fighters are working for Al Heyman? It makes no sense. There's no one that's going to convince me otherwise. I don't care if in the business, out the business, was in the business and then left the business and then went back in. Enough of them are broke. Al Heyman is a big time fraud. He came from music and he got sued by Beyonce herself. Beyonce sued her dad, Matthew Knowles, and Al Heyman. Al Heyman paid an undisclosed money because he stole from her. So he then moved to boxing and he's doing the same thing and he's under the guise as an advisor. But he's taking people's money and living off it. Nobody can tell me nothing because I know this for a fact and it is public records.
As far as Al Heyman being a crook, yeah, I can see that happening. And
so
you know
if he's a crook,
time will determine that. And once again, that very well may be proven a lot sooner than later. Yeah, he still has to answer in court for going through all of that hedge fund money. Yeah, and that's going to come to a head within the next several years.
Joe, I talked about this extensively on my show. The company that gave him the money that was a company called Waddell and Reed out of Kansas.
Waddell and Reed, that's right.
Out of Kansas. And Waddell and Reed just got bought out by an Australian company that's owned by China, a Chinese company.
Okay, so now they're going to have to do an overhaul and naturally do serious economic inventory. And when that happens. After he gets audited, after they do an audit, he's going to have to answer for all of those hundreds of millions of dollars that he flushed through.
So therefore, Joseph, you want me to believe out of his kindness of his heart, he sets up funds for these fighters when they retire. But he's a crook.
Well, no,
go ahead, Mal. Let Mal just quickly say what he's got to say because he hasn't said anything much. So let Mal just.
Joe, I want to ask you a quick question. I've done a couple of shows about this. When I talked about the Waddell and Reed and Al Heyman and stuff like that. Now I don't know Al Heyman personally. Again, you've been on the inside, you know more than me. But I do know a lot about financial advisors. I've done a lot of research on them as it relates to the music industry. And a lot of people in business, especially athletes and boxers are no different, get taken advantage of by financial advisors a lot, especially like basketball players and football players. You don't know whether you're really getting ripped off or not until when your career is almost over or after it's over. When you realize that, damn, I really ain't got the money that I thought I have. So this is why I said I would love for those fighters at the PBC who say they love Al Heyman. I want to see them 5 years from now.
Me too.
5 years from now.
That's an excellent point, and that very well may be the case. And once again, guys, I'm just reporting.
Yeah,
and this is a huge problem with Al Heyman's business model because he's an advisor first and foremost. That's his primary objective. A lot of times he's only interested in making his fighters as much money as he possibly can, not taking into consideration the best interest of the network or his benefactors. In this case, in Waddell Reed, their retirement fund, the investors. That's the biggest problem with Al Heyman's business model. Now, once again, if you look at his history, it was his brother who was a former prize fighter. And because he was taken advantage of, his modus operandi and his primary objective is to make sure that these fighters make money and without little else considered, right? That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem with Al Heyman's business model. And this is why you're seeing no network that he's affiliated with make money on it. It's not a sustainable business model. This is why you're seeing Fox lose interest in the sport of boxing.
This is why and Peter Von Art, salute to you because you hit the nail on the head. Financial advisors, people handling your money that you've never even met in real life.
Okay, I got.
No.
Great.
Let's let this marinate. Financial advisors, people handling your money, i.e., Al Heyman, that you've never met in real life. There's only like 5 PBC fighters that have met Al Heyman in person, but he's got 150. So you want me to believe that he's got these fighters as his best interest, and he gives them a retirement fund, and he's never met them. When have you ever, when you go to the bank, you go physically to the bank. When you speak to a financial advisor, you go in the bank and then you go to the little office, and that's the financial advisor. Would you ever just financially invest money, or give someone your money, your earnings that you've never even met?
Me personally, never.
Yeah. So this is why I know it's fraudulent and it's crookery.
Well, we'll see. Time will tell. But yeah, you've got a lot of evidence of this. When you look at what he's done to Golden Boy Promotions, to Richard Schaefer, to Waddell Reed, yes, yeah, there's a lot of smoke there. And where there's smoke, there's fire. So time will tell. You may be right. You may be right.
Some will go broke. I believe that. Some will be having problems.
Yep. Okay. So once again, he's going to have to answer for all of this. He's going to eventually have to answer for all of this.
So I don't listen to, this is why I'm saying I call bullshit. When it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I'm just explaining what fighters have told to me.
Yeah, Errol Spence, he's one of the 5 that I mentioned that he's actually.
Well, no, including guys who are no longer working with Heyman, like Paulie Malignaggi. And you can ask Paulie. He's got nothing but great things to say about Al Heyman.
I'll ask him. I spoke to him a couple of days ago, but I will.
Go ahead and ask him.
I will ask him about it.
One thing that Paulie always stated that he was different than every promoter in the business is that he said, 1, everything that Al's always said he was going to do for me, he's done. He's a man of his word. And 2, he always puts the fighters first. Now, once again, that's very noble of him, but it's not a sustainable business model in this business. You have to consider your benefactors. If it's not going to make the networks or the benefactors any money, then it doesn't do the sport any good. And Fish has the right idea. He's got the beat. It's not a sustainable business model for the sport. It's not.
This is why I don't believe that he puts away money for his fighters, for every fight. I don't believe it. Until I see something that is super proof, I don't believe it, because you have to put things in context. Yeah, a character reference is important. When you go to court and you're going to talk about someone's character, you dig their past up. And if they've already been done for fraud or stealing or money laundering, then they move to another sphere or genre of business, and then you don't ever see that person, and you see people coming out of the woodwork saying, "Give me my money, Al. I need my money. You said you was holding it for me. How come you haven't released my money?" But you never see any statements from Al. I don't believe for 1 minute that guy is holding money for people as an altruist and saying, "This is for Errol Spence."
Well, once again,
wait.
Once again, Lady Chann, this isn't just
let Lisa go after. Let Lisa go after. Lisa, go ahead.
I had a question and a comment. First, my question is, how do we know that debt hasn't been paid to the investors?
Well,
how do we know that investment money hasn't been paid back?
Yes.
Because it's still an ongoing court case.
Oh, okay.
That's public record, sister.
Oh, okay. And my question and my comment is, why can't, because we're talking about checks and balances, why can't these people be audited? You should be audited monthly.
Or quarterly. Or yearly or annually.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why there's a court case in place. And once again, Al Heyman is going to have to answer for this. But once again, and what's funny about this is
talking about the box.
Yes, of course. Let's look at the way Oh, you're talking about your boxers auditing their own specific portfolio.
For them, why can't they audit? Because you can have these people working for you, but you can also have somebody to audit them.
You can have
that way you have money.
That's right. You can have an arbitrator or a third party actually, audit your portfolio. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's all I gotta say.
This is, and all you have to do is look at the way the Golden Boy Richard Schaefer situation was handled. Okay, Al Heyman, once again, he convinced Richard Schaefer that it was a good idea to be using all of his fighters on his client roster as their talent, but he convinced them not to sign them under Golden Boy long-term promotional contracts. So when everything was said and done, Richard Schaefer was the one on the hook for this, and Al Heyman wasn't. This is how Al Heyman operates. He's a very wily, very intelligent Harvard graduate. This is a guy who's also a piece of shit, right? This is a guy, and once again, I was there. When all of this was happening, I was there. He convinced Richard Schaefer that it was a good idea to make this decision as CEO, not to sign these guys under contract, basically sabotaging Golden Boy Promotions. But was Al Heyman the person who was liable? No, because he didn't point a gun to Richard Schaefer's head. It was Richard Schaefer's decision to do this. Something tells me that he's handled this Waddell Reed situation the exact same way, that he's legally not going to be on the hook for this thing. That's the way he operates. He's a very smart but diabolical guy at the end of the day.
I got a comment.
He's the biggest, and this is just my personal opinion. Now I'm not reporting anymore. In my opinion, he's the biggest piece of shit that boxing has seen. And if you're wondering why boxing is in the current business state that it's in, it's because of Al Heyman. Putting the fighters, now once again, putting his own best interests before the health of the sport. You can say what you want about guys like Don King, but Don King was always interested in the health of the sport and making sure that fans came out to support the product. Al Heyman doesn't give a shit. As long as he lines his pockets and his company is profiting from this, he doesn't give a shit about the health of the sport. That's my personal opinion.
Joe, okay, I understand your opinion, right? But let me ask you a question. To piggyback off what you're saying, if you're saying that, your opinion that Al Heyman is a piece of and he's done these things to his investors like Waddell and Reed, he's in court. We know that Al Heyman had to settle out of court with Bob Arum back in 2015, for the violating the Muhammad Ali Act. So now, if he has a bad character doing business as it relates to his investors who put up these 400, 500 or whatever $1 million, Waddell and Reed. I did a whole video on it. I know who the CEO is and everything, the CEO. And I know that they've been bought out by a Chinese company out of Australia. I know this. I have the receipts on this. It's public record. What in the hell make me think that he's doing right by his fighters?
That's an excellent question, brother, and we're not going to know that until the shit hits the fan. Now,
until it hits the fan, right? And that's what I've always said on my show. I said these same people saying call Al is good. Now I'm not saying he hasn't done good for some fighters. I'm not saying that. He might have done good for 10, 15, 20 fighters, but he has like 140 something fighters on his roster. These
biggest
fighters,
roster in boxing.
These fighters cannot say anything bad about Al Heyman. It does not mean that he is really doing right by them, all of them. It just means that, hey, if you say something bad against me, it would not be advantageous for you to do so. Sean Porter even said that, hey man, listen, I've been taught in this business on this podcast that you don't speak or say anything unless you're told to do and say what you're supposed to say. I have that video as well. So Sean Porter admitted that. So again, go back to what Shannon is saying. The advisors doesn't work for the fighter. The fighter does what he's told. Wilder, no matter how much of a king of Wakanda that his people think he's not his own boss. He has to do what they tell him to do. These fighters would not know how much they have been how much they have benefited from Al Heyman, or how much they have been robbed from Al Heyman. Give it another 5 years and we'll see.
You know what?
Because I've done some research on financial advisors. And what these athletes do, athletes come from the inner city. They're not the smartest guys in the world. The only thing they know how to do is use their physical talents in order to make money. And if you're trusting somebody, well, I trust Al, and this and that. This is one of the biggest ways athletes get robbed by financial advisors and managers, because you overwhelmingly trust them. And Al Heyman, listen, he got good intentions. He wants to look out for his fighters. Well, hell, shit, everybody knows that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. We know this, right? So I'm just saying, I am of the belief that, hey, I don't know the guy. He's very secretive. We don't see him. I call him the ghost now. We won't know if he is as good as they say he is until give it another 5 years, and we'll see what time it is. Because if he's quote unquote manipulating or not paying his investors, what in the hell? Listen, my mother always taught me a thief is a thief.
Yep,
right?
That's it.
You're stealing from the investors who are loaning you $400 or $500 million. What in the hell is he doing to his fighters? There's no honor amongst these. You can't tell me that. But these fighters are not. They'll know. They'll find out within 5 years.
You know what? And you know what? Time, and those are all excellent and valid points. And you know what? Time will tell. And you may be right. This could be a huge Ponzi scheme like Madoff. This could prove to be that in time. And if you look at his history, especially that with Golden Boy, and you look at that with Waddell Reed, that very well may be the case. But time will tell. And once again, I've just been reporting this entire time. The only thing I can say is that Al Heyman's not the only guy who does this. And like I said, I brought up the example with my brother, Jesse James Leha, in which Lester Bedford, his manager, who's also a very dear friend of mine, he invested his money for James Leha for that same reason. And this is a common business practice since the proposal and the passing through Congress of the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act. This has been a common business practice where management teams have invested these fighters' money to save them from themselves. And once again, other sporting leagues, they have this in place, and they're called players associations. Unfortunately, boxing doesn't have a union or a players association. That's one of the things that Al Heyman supposedly wanted to start PBC, to not only create representation for the fighters in solidarity or a big union, but to save them from themselves, to make sure that they didn't go broke by the age of 40, right? So theoretically, that's what he's doing, and that's what a lot of management teams do for their clients. But what with Coach Malachi just said, is he actually doing it? That's a good question.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I don't really believe.
But after everything that we've discussed in terms of the business of boxing, Lady Chann, I'm going to ask you this seriously. Do you still believe that there's ducking involved with the business of boxing? Yeah. After everything that we've already discussed and what little power these fighters actually have, do you still believe that there's ducking going in? Like these fighters wouldn't step in the ring with King Kong if it meant making a life-changing paycheck.
So why haven't they done it? Yeah, but I look, like I said, you've explained it, and I get it fully. I get it. But what I'm saying is, it still leads, all roads lead to what it's called is a duck. Whatever the reasons is, the outcomes is, the fight is not being made. Fighters are being told by their advisors, this isn't a good fight for you to take, and they actually are going along with it. So yes, a duck. You don't work for your advisor. If your advisor's telling you, oh, we don't think you should take this fight, and you go, okay, I won't take this fight, you've ducked the fight because your advisor told you to. Yeah, you ducked.
Well, once again, that's your perception of it. But yeah, we just have to agree to disagree, because
if
these guys are fearless. They're all brimming with confidence, and they truly believe that they could beat anyone's ass in the division.
But you're getting it misconstrued, because what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that they're scared necessarily of the opponent. But what I'm saying is, for whatever reason, if your advisor or your manager or your promotional company tell you you shouldn't take this fight, and their reasons are X, Y, Z. Oh, I don't think you should take this fight. Remember, they work for you. If you allow them to go,
yeah, but that's not realistic. That's theoretically, yes, they work for you, but that's not the case within the sport, and we just explained that.
But you know what, Joe? You know what, Joe? This is the thing, and I understand what you're saying. That's not the case in the sport. Then what we need to do, we need to stop lying and say, hey, listen, this advisor works for me, this manager works for me. What needs to be said is this: listen, I have to do what, like Sean Porter said, I have to do what these people tell me to do. These people control my career. They control my livelihood. I can't do what I want to do. This, I'm lying, putting on the front.
That would actually start to make a lot more sense, and that's closer to the truth.
Right.
So yeah, if these fighters were completely honest with the boxing public, that's exactly what they would say. Because even though these PBC fighters all beat their chest, oh, I'm a free agent, I've got my own promotional company, I can do whatever the hell I want. Well, then why don't you?
So why don't they leave?
It's because they're not really in control.
And so if they're not really in control, and they're not ducking because they do really want these fights, but because they're not in control and the advisor's telling them not to do it, but they really do want to do the fights, why do you not drop the advisor and go elsewhere and take the fight?
Because good luck getting the fight if you don't have solid management who has TV dates.
Matter of fact, this reminds me. I remember when Gary Russell. Remember when Gary Russell Jr. Put out an ultimatum to Al Heyman saying that if you don't give me Leo Santa Cruz, I'm going to go to Top Rank and go after Miguel Burchell.
How's he looking right now?
Did he do that? Anybody?
Who you talking about?
Gary Russell Jr. He said that he gave an ultimatum to Al Heyman saying if you don't give me the Leo Santa Cruz fight, I'm going to go to Top Rank and try to fight Miguel Burchell. Didn't do that, did he?
Isn't he got a fight coming up now, or is it? Have I got that wrong?
Yeah, guys. Look, it would serve these fighters much more positively, right? If they were just forthcoming with their fan base and said, "Look, guys, my promoter doesn't want me to do this. My management team doesn't want me to do this. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense for my management and promoter and the network. So guys, yeah, we're not going to make this deal."
It would serve the fighters better if they come to the understanding that they are the business and boxing is just a vehicle, and then they learn the business, which is themselves, and they learn how to market and handle themselves, much like Bernard Hopkins, even though he had to sit down for maybe 2 years to learn that. But when he came back, he was 100% free. Floyd Mayweather was never 100% free, because how many times did he say that he had to ask Al Heyman or I let Al Heyman handle that? Bernard would go in there and, he would negotiate his own fights. I don't understand why most boxers don't just learn that they are the business.
Here's why, sir, because boxers, they come and go, right? But the promoters, Bob Arum, he stayed in business for 50 years. Don King always said this, right? Always said this. He's famous for saying this in the 60s or in the 70s and the 80s. He said, look, these these boxers, you look at their careers, they've got a very short shelf life. We are boxing. We are the sport, because our promotional company and the sport will live on long after they've retired. And that's the sad reality of the sport, guys.
And where is Don King today?
Well, he's 90. He's already retired.
Well, no. I mean, his business. Where's his business?
Yeah, he's pretty much retired. Look, ever since his beloved Henrietta passed away, he hasn't been the same, and he's basically been semi-retired to fully retired. And everyone within the business, we all know this to be the case. He's never been the same since his beloved wife Henrietta passed away.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Don King is just an individual. We were talking about a business.
No, that's it. Yeah. That's it. But Don King, like it or not, at one point in time, he was the biggest, most influential promoter of the sport.
I know that.
Who had well over 100 fighters on his roster, just like Al Heyman right now.
I tell you what, boxing is kind of in a disarray at the moment. You shouldn't have men that are close to 60 fighting. You shouldn't have boxers coming out of retirement to fight and things like that. I mean, when you're close to 50, mid 50s and all that, even if you're fighting basketball players or whoever you're fighting, internet guys, that shouldn't be happening in the sport because it cheapens the sport. It just cheapens it.
You're absolutely right about that.
That fight is canceled.
What fight?
Well, I can't say it's canceled, but what's his name? Riddick Bowe was removed from that fight. With
God, at age 55, there's no reason why he needs to be fighting any longer.
Why was he removed from the fight?
I don't know. I saw
because he's 50 fighting now, 55 and out of shape.
I just haven't watched it yet.
James Tony shouldn't be allowed to fight. James Tony shouldn't be fighting either.
Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's terrible. It's terrible. And these state athletic commissions, they need to use better judgment and have more strict protocol.
I mean, James Tony couldn't even talk. But I think he's probably worse than Riddick Bowe is. I mean, like my jaw just dropped when I heard James Tony. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's become inaudible. You can't understand anything he's saying any longer. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But look, guys, and I understand what all of you are saying, and you're absolutely right. The players, there needs to be someone who's like someone who's a former fighter, someone like I don't know, Sugar Ray Leonard, to actually champion the efforts of forming a boxers association or a union.
He's about to fight again.
Oh, good Lord. Please tell me it isn't so. That's no. No, but my point is, though, this has to be unionized. Every other sport has this. It's high time that a former prize fighter or a group of former prize fighters creates a boxing union.
I'm so glad you said that.
Independent from the promoters, the managers, and the networks. Until that happens, guys, yes, the boxing is still going to just have this same vicious cycle, right?
Right. But I'm so glad you said that about the union, because that's what I'm working on with Ring 10 and a couple of other folks, which I can't mention. But I'm telling you, before I close my eyes in this world, there's going to be a union in this sport.
Good for you, brother. And
before I close my eyes,
just this is a word of advice, right? Because, and Lady Chann will know this. She's an entertainer, musician also. If this is handled, because boxing is unlike any other sport, it's more like the music industry or like the motion picture industry. So you cannot base the players associations or your benefits based on those business models. So if you're going to move forward with this, sir, my advice to you would be study the business model of the Screen Actors Guild.
I tell you what you do.
Study the Screen Actors Guild, because that's the only way it's going to be successful.
I tell you what you do, and I mean no disrespect to the Live or Lady Chann. I do a show on Wednesdays, even though we have to cancel it today, with a Ring 10 about the union. Why don't you jump on at 7:30 next Wednesday and give your advice?
I'm there, sir. I'm there. I would love to. Because once again, if you're familiar with the way the motion picture industry, and you look at how their actors work on at the same scale, right, as prize fighters, where there are different levels, club level fighters, regional commodities, and then you've got the elite level, the world class guys who make pretty much all the money in this sport. But you look at the Screen Actors Guild, you're able still to get these, minimally working actors and writers. You can still get them benefits, and you can still get them retirement plans because of collective bargaining. So study the Screen Actors Guild. That's the only way that you'll be able to unionize the sport of boxing. But that's my opinion, guys.
What's your name, man? I'll leave you where to find it, like in the private messages on here.
Please do. My name is Joseph Heron.
Joseph.
Yes. JOSEPHHERRON. And my email address is collinsheron2112@gmail.com.
I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him instead of saying it.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is what has to happen for anything to improve within the sport.
Okay. Well, it'll be on standby, I guess. Standby, and we'll see what's what within the next few years with everything. But yep, I'm going to wrap up the show because we've been on for 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's been a great show, by the way. So I would like to thank Troy Graham. I'd like to thank Joseph Heron. I call you Heron. Sorry. Heron.
It's all right, sister. You can call me Jay. That's fine too.
I usually call you Jay. I always call you Jay. Big up to the brother Jay. Thank you to my sister Queen Lisa Bales. Thank you for Coach Malachi. Thank you to Fight Fair Figures Leon. Thank you for AJ and Alex, aka Alex, should I say? Does anybody want to go around the panel and say their last few things? Go ahead. Go ahead. Say last statements and where.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go first. Guys, thank you so much, and Lady Chann, you're always a gracious hostess. Thank you for letting me be a part of this panel. And once again, my apologies for, I guess, turning this argument the way it did and focusing on the business of boxing. But honestly, more fans and more passionate scribes like all of you guys need to be more knowledgeable of the business of boxing, just to have a greater understanding of how the business works and why some of these decisions are made. So thank you guys for allowing me to talk about the business of the sport. God bless all of you guys, and much respect to all of you. Thank you so much.
God bless you too, Joseph. Thanks for coming.
God bless you, Joseph.
Go ahead, Coach Malachi from New Media Today USA Boxing.
Okay, but hold on.
Go ahead,
oh, sorry.
Mal.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, I was in the chat.
Oh yeah. That's like me.
I was in the chat. Peace to everyone in the chat. Yeah. Once again, it's our boy Coach Malachi Williams, New Media Today USA Boxing. I know I talk fast. I've been talking fast all my life. Can't help it. It is what it is. Tune in tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We will be talking about AJ Anthony Joshua. Anthony knock him out this box. Joshua, aka better known as the Landlord, and Usyk. And it is what it is. Meet me there. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. See me tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. New Media Today USA Boxing. Subscribe and hit the like button for the old boy. Other than that, that's all I have to say. You can find me on Instagram as well at Coach Malachi Williams.
Twitter.
Send me that content. Send it directly to my DM. Send me the content that you want me to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Troy?
Yes. Well, again with this phone. Well, thank you for the time, Lady Chann. I didn't mean to interrupt the show or nothing like that. Just thank you for the time and everything.
I was like, this is where you're supposed to be at. I was like,
yeah.
So it's all good. Go ahead.
Yeah, just thank you. I enjoy coming on the show, and just keep doing what you're doing. I don't have the voice today. I'm feeling a little weak, but I'm sure Leon could fill in for me. So Leon, I want you to come in and use the voice, Leon. Use the voice.
He's stupid. Where can they find you, Troy? What's your channel?
Oh, good gracious! I'm sorry. Yeah, Major Key Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. We're on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesdays, every first Wednesday and last Wednesday of the month. Ring 10 Boxing charity show. We talk about helping retired boxers and forming the union. And from time to time, we will do a Friday show, but just keep checking because we got some legends coming on for the rest of the month of September and October. Bless up yourself, and Lady Chann. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I know Leon doesn't have a channel. AJ, do you want to say something? Lee might want UGC Flame. Big up UGC.
UGC Flame.
Informative show tonight. Yeah, I know. I like shows like this. Thank you, Peter, as well. Alex, do you want to say something? AJ with the AK.
Yeah. Thank you for once. I was honored to be on the panel, Lady Chann. Thank you so much, everybody. Always a pleasure chatting with you. Peace and love to everybody, and y'all stay safe, and stay vigilant.
No doubt.
Can't wait to the next one.
Yeah, I'll be live.
Yeah.
We'll be sorting something out for the AJ fight as well. Mal, are we sorting that out?
You talking about the AJ fight?
Yeah, for the watch along.
Yeah, I haven't even I'm trying to get it together now. More than likely, I see simulcast. I'm probably gonna have 2 computers. I still have both. Yeah.
How am I doing it with you?
Oh no, you can go live on your channel.
Yeah. And then we do it all like
and I can go live on my channel, and
yeah, but
I think it's 2. I think I gotta have another computer.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you gotta have 2 computers. I know. I have 2 computers, so yeah. So.
I got 2. You got 2. We can figure it out.
Yeah, so I'll be on your show and my show at the same time. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm a simulcast, and then I share your show on social media platforms and mine as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's
it. Okay, now, Lady Chann, before you jump off, I'm sorry. I was on here earlier, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to jump off because I had a show to do, which didn't come apart. Did I hear you meow when I was on here earlier? You made like a meow or purr or something like that?
Did I
No?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe
okay.
Haplo when he went, oh, you guys are being not catty. He said, you guys are vicious. Shannon, Lisa's vicious. And I went, shh.
Yeah. Be still my heart. Be still my heart. Rough.
All right, guys, that's for another chat. Keep it clean. Come on now.
Yeah, crazy. I don't even. I was lost. You lost me in that source. But yeah, Troy always goes left. But let me just pick up everybody in the chat. Peter Von Arts, big up yourself. Paul Evans, big up yourself. Philly Fly, big up yourself. UGC Flame, big up yourself. JH Lethal, big up yourself. Coach Malachi, big up yourself. I said it already. Paul Evans, big up yourself. And oh, my guy, Intrigue, I think. Big up yourself. Fish, big up yourself. Who else have we got in here? Oh yeah, Haplo, big up yourself. Hap. Late show, big up yourself. We had some good people turn out. Gosh, there's a lot in the chat, but it's you guys having Sammy Ali, big up yourself. Fight Fan Figures, big up yourself. That's Blue Sky, big up yourself. Gosh, there's a lot, guys. It's as much as the chat can allow me. I can't go any further up, guys. So if I've missed anybody out, sorry about that. But big up yourself the same way. And as we sign out, you know how we do the sign out? I say, yo, hey there, this Lady Chann rep nonetheless. Come box with Shan. Yan. Lady Chann. Fight.